Maybe a blue sky, but the red light is officially on, which means it must be Wednesday, and the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast is back and in full effect to finally address the $1 million question that everyone around the world is asking. Who is the fifth man? We have an OG bloodline. We have a new bloodline. And yet we have missing members from each team for this year's Survivor Series War Games match. But luckily for you all, the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast is here this week to discuss who is the fifth man on both sides. Not to mention, we have been introduced, you hear this championship culture, guys, to a brand new championship belt, the WWE Women's United States Championship. And we are going to discuss who should be the first champion and why. Because guess what? Putting you guys on the hot seat today. This may be a too hot for TV situation. So grab your popcorn, grab your food, your drink, whatever it is you need, because we are about to get down and dirty. We about to make this happen. The Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast is back. We're live and we're ready to go. Fellas, let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I am your host, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building tonight, and he is your host, Brother Hugh, super producer, has the third, A to the S, T to the H to the D, 3 to the R to the D, in the building tonight, and he is your host, not just any guy, the Belt King, Brandon the guy, the sex man, back in the building tonight, and he is your host, the man myth, the legend that's living, the founder, the creator of the Wrestling Wrealm, Mr. Steal Your Show, Hollywood, Brian H. Waters, in the building tonight. Good brothers, we are here. We're locked. We're ready to unload. Welcome to the show. How's everybody feeling?
Good shows, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What do you steal?
it sure ain't basis. Sure ain't
What is that? Whoa. I was like Kenny Lofton on the base pads now. Don't get it twisted. Back in the day, I was fast.
I stand
Brother Hugh
corrected.
in a few races.
Don't do that.
I should have played this for the brother guy.
You see, I did the gesture.
I did. I noticed. I just started too late.
I know it's okay.
It's
I
okay.
was like, maybe it's you.
The shenanigans have started early. It's because we have some shenanigans once again in the world of professional wrestling, because there is a question that has been lingering all around the world since last week about upcoming Survivor Series War Game matchup between the OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline. And tonight we're going to answer that question. We're going to get down to the bottom of it. Who is the fifth member on each side? But that is not the only thing that we need to discuss. But before we get into that, which is the fun stuff of tonight's show, because guess what? It's definitely going to be too hot for TV once it's all said and done. I promise you that. Yes, the brothers will be going on the hot seat, is because we've got to get into some details. We need some answers, and we're going to figure it out tonight. But before then, every Tuesday at 8 p.m., something great happens on the Wrestling Wrealm Network on YouTube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. something that screams championship, something that screams culture. Better yet, known as championship culture. You guys know what time it is. That's right. Championship culture every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/the Wrestling Wrealm, as well as on our Twitter and Twitch channels. Every week, every Tuesday, a certain subject, a topic, a conversation is had completely engulfed in championship culture. And we need to find out what this week's episode was all about. It's because this week's episode was very special. It was almost like a callback, but it's a very special callback because it is timely in regard to today's conversation. Is because that's where the Too Hot for TV segment will come from, the end part of this episode of Championship Culture. But I'm going to do the honors and be a gentleman and allow the curator and the creator of Championship Culture, Brother Guy, to explain to us what exactly, for the people who may have missed it, what was this week's episode of Championship Culture all about?
Oh, buddy. So, if you've been paying attention to championship culture, we like to talk about, championships, right? But there's one championship that we did a history of where the realness was part of, and he actually helped us break down the history almost in depth from NWA to WCW to WWF, right? And he made a comment in that said show that, wow, this belt really has shaped some of the things that we are celebrating today, right? So we thought it important with the announcement of the United States Women's Championship coming, with Veterans Day being the day prior, I thank you for all the veterans that's been out there that served. We appreciate your service and thank you for your service. What better way than to say, you know what? Why is this championship so important to the WWE? Not just WCW, not NWA. Why was it so important to WWE? So we kind of dug into that, right? Because it is a belt with honor. People usually think of a secondary title and automatically default to the Intercontinental title. But you know what? Go back and watch this. It's some tidbits that we threw in there, some things to think about, things to consider. I mean, do we have the iteration of Daniel Bryan that we so loved and so was behind if it wasn't for this belt? I don't know. Is it? Let's go back to the show and see. See if you agree with some of the takes. Brother Hugh, what you got?
I just want the notes.
You just want the notes? We just look forward to notes. We be just waiting for the notes, right? So as you see, I can't Stephanie Hardy the belt, but I do have it over my shoulder. I'm not even going to attempt it, but I'm gonna just hold it there. But I think that's
a heavy belt.
What the show was, it definitely is. Definitely.
But yeah, you pretty much hit it on the nail. You took care of it. That's what we did. We broke down that U.S. title, and we gave you some predictions on who could possibly win the women's U.S. title. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that a little bit later on in the show.
And it's more than just gold. That's all I'm gonna say. This belt is more than just gold.
Mm-hmm. You talked about diving into it a little bit later into the show. It's almost the dang near perfect segue into the next part. Is because as we dig into our new segment of our favorite segment every week of What Did You Watch, it's going to jump right into that conversation because I'm telling you, good brothers, you guys started that conversation last night, but today, you know me, the realness. I'm like, you know what? They played it safe. I'm going to put everybody on the hot seat. It's because we're going to figure out who, but not just who, but why. But there's only one way to do this, and I must do this correctly because if you know me by now, which I'm sure you do, anytime a following Wednesday comes after Tuesday and championship culture happens, I must confirm that, of course, after I've seen this show, I've got notes.
That is my favorite part of the Wrestling Wrealm. The yippee!
And a little extra sauce on it, a little Chick-fil-A sauce for you, Brian H. He hates that part.
That was like provolone cheese and bacon added on top.
So you talk about that French fry ad that you guys have on your show. That's what you're talking about. It's on provolone cheese, right? But yes, of course, I've got notes, and I'm not going to take long. It's because the beauty of the situation is the way you guys ended last night's show is that it's the perfect segue into how, because we're going to jump right into the show. Like I said, we've been going late for a while, and I promise you, I try to condense it, and it never seems to work. But we're going to try.
It's the exact opposite, isn't it?
Right.
It's always goes that way, and it's probably my fault, but it is what it is. I'm trying. I promise I am. But of course, I do have notes. Now, we have had this conversation before about the United States Championship, and I love that every time these conversations are brought up, it always brings to my remembrance that even though we're enjoying today's product, and Triple H and crew and DX is doing an absolutely wonderful job, there were a lot of great things that happened during this era, especially with the United States Championship and all its iterations before, in the present, up to what we have right now. But there's a few things I'd like to point out. Besides the obvious of my favorite United States champions, that list is completely long, and I don't have time to get into it. But let's get into my notes. It's because majority of the notes are going to move into the next segment. Line of the night, Brother Hugh. The Miz, who looks like a frog in the face.
Wow.
When I heard that, I popped. I said, okay, wait a minute. Because he was...
I said short hair Miz on purpose, so we knew which Miz. I mean, short hair Ziggler.
There's a conversation about Dolph Ziggler included in this, and I was like, I need to write this down because I need to address how good he literally says. It was like he was. I don't know if you were ranting, if you fit like he starts going. He goes, and of course the Miz, who looks like a frog in the face, completely unnecessary. But the Miz caught a stray. He caught a stray.
What did he do to deserve that?
Listen, right. It's because I said short hair Miz, and you know he don't like short hair Miz.
No,
he just blow up.
That's what it was. I was watching old matches from the U.S. title matches, and I saw the Miz, and like you said, the old school Miz. He was annoying. He always had that smirk on his face that made him look like the WB Frog or something. Like,
bro, that's the tone of what you were saying. That's exactly.
Not the WB Frog. But we all pictured it when he said it. Oh. The Miz is gonna follow us if he's following us.
Yeah, I
don't look like that frog.
Bro, I'm trying to keep it together. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Oh my gosh. Jeez. Okay.
Well, we
I gotta move on because tonight I'm trying to keep the show going, but god dang, what did he do to you? No pun intended when I said he caught a stray, Brother Hugh. That's an inside joke. It's an inside joke. Brother Brandon, you made a comment about the United States Women's Championship. You gave a list of names. There was a list of veterans, new faces, and some in between. Excuse me, I'm choking on my words. And you said that the United States Women's Championship will have a lot of energy to start. Now, here's the lifelong ongoing debate, especially when it comes to championship culture, and we got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation always starts with, does the superstar make the title, or does the title make the star? And Brother Hugh had a point, and there's an argument there. And Brother Brand said that the United States Women's Championship should have a lot of energy to start out with. And I didn't necessarily agree. Not because of what he said, or not that his statement is untrue, but there was a certain name that he said, I don't want to see her win it because I don't think it needs that type of energy because the championship will have all the energy that it needs. And that's all I'm going to give you.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
That's all you're going to get. It's because we're going to carry that into our next segment. And if you want to figure out what that conversation looked like before we get to this point, if you want to, hurry up, go to youtube.com/the Wrestling Wrealm Playlist Championship Culture and watch the episode before we continue the conversation and just come on back and jump right in. So there you have it. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Don't forget Championship Culture. Sometimes it's live, sometimes it's not. I think you guys are doing pretty much all live shows this week.
Mostly live. Yeah, mostly live.
Okay. So yes. So season 3 is well underway. Go back and watch all the episodes of season 2, season 1, and the bonus Christmas episode. And I'm not talking about the unboxing. Or maybe you have to go back and see what I'm referring to. Look for Santa Claus hat. I just helped you out.
I'm gonna do another one this year, aren't I? It's going to
Yep.
be another one this year.
You already know.
And you know
And you
the
have to have
funniest
a
thing about
saxophone in
that?
the background. You have to have a saxophone in the background. This time you have to
And
put
I don't know if
saxophone music behind. Like last time you did Christmas music, this time it has to be like Christmas saxophone music or like kazoo, like a Hustle Man and or Martin when he had the kazoo strapped to the saxophone. That's the only way to
Pick
do
up the pieces.
The funniest thing about that,
it.
so he didn't know when we released the episode that I had put Christmas music to it because we had that one music that was always playing in the background. He
Yep.
gonna text and say, "Oh, the Christmas music." I was like, "Did you just get excited for it?" He said, "Yeah, I like that."
Bro, it was a pleasant surprise. It was a live unboxing with Christmas music during the holidays. It was perfect. It went perfect with the thumbnail. So let's not waste any time. Brothers, you guys are going to know how to see today. It's because, like I said, it was a perfect segue. It's because you guys closed out that episode of Championship Culture introducing the Women's United States Championship. And a conversation ensued about, well, who should hold it first? And you guys tiptoed. You gave pieces here. You gave pieces there. But tonight, we are going to give our listeners and the fans the cold hard facts, and you guys are going to have to sit in that hot seat and give the bullet points as to why and what we are trying to accomplish with this United States Women's Championship. We're going to go through that. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into our favorite wrestling soap opera as the Bloodline turns, and we're going to finish up the show. And we're going to discuss who is the fifth man, but let's jump right into it. So this week's edition of our favorite segment, What Did You Watch?, is sponsored by our good friends at SeatGeek.
If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Wrealm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Wrealm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more.
Good brothers, let's get into it. What did you watch? Let's not waste any time. Good brothers.
It's a beauty right there.
That white and silver is hitting, isn't it?
Man, it needs blue though. It needs that blue.
That silver behind. Look at the silver behind the champion. How much it stands out now.
We're just basking in the glory of the
just look how much it stands out now.
WWE Women's United States Championship. Now, let's first get a few reactions. And before you know it, it's going to be time for the brothers to take their place in the hot seat, because this is about to get too hot for TV. It's because we have four different guys with four different opinions, and we're going to bring the heat. But first, we were welcomed with this surprise. We had a feeling this was going to happen sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
What is everybody's first impressions of them introducing the first mid-card title to the main roster as the WWE United States Women's Championship, or the WWE Women's United States Championship? Yes. And what do you think about it? How do you like it so far? What are your initial thoughts when you when you first saw that this had been debuted and we're going to be crowning our very first Women's United States Champion?
It was about time, and I think that it's perfect. I mean, I kind of have a feeling the women's IC title is coming. I think that can wait. But you think about SmackDown, the roster is stacked, and the women over there are doing their thing. But there's multiple stories. You have the story that Naomi has been kind of involved with everything that's going on with Bianca and Jade, as far as like with Nia Jax and them. But then you have Mia Yim and Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven's right there. So and Bailey's around. So and then obviously Tiffany Stratton. So it's a lot of women, but they all getting different stories. And I think now, like Chelsea Green said, Naomi said, when you add this title, that means now you got to write stories. You got to write stories for them. And I think it's happening. So I'm glad it's happening. It's about time.
Brother Guy, what did you think? What was your first initial thoughts when you first saw that the WWE had introduced a women's United States Championship, and how do you like how it looks?
I love the way it looks, but I honestly thought because when they introduced the North American Women's title, they made subtle changes to it, and I don't want to say to soften the belt, but to show the male and the female belt still the same elements to it, same thing to it. But now we got the red, we got the little riblets that look a little bit different. So I was happy that this belt
Did you
was
call them
white.
riblets?
The little things on the side. That's what I call
Are they
them.
called riblets? I thought is that
don't know.
like this? I thought that was the sandwich you get at McDonald's. You know when they can make the
That's
McRib.
red.
Yeah, it's the
Red.
They don't have riblets to go along with the McRib.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just asked. I just sorry.
I mean,
didn't mean
that do sound like no. We're not doing this tonight.
my fault. I didn't mean to disturb you, brother Brandon.
Okay.
He's-
So
Sorry. He said riblets.
I was happy with it. I
He's
was
the
happy
belt
when
guy. I wanted to know the truth.
I was happy when I saw it because, of course, the white has now become, the strap has become white for women automatically, but it's the same style belt, same layout. They just said women on the top above where it says United States. I know the internet people were mad because it didn't have the blue paint, you being one of them.
We're going
But-
to talk about that, by the way.
I'm okay with it because now it has, and I'm glad this one came first because of the history of the belts. The United States title came first before the Intercontinental. So even if it's a month before, a year before, whatever it may be, it definitely was a pleasant surprise on a SmackDown before Veterans Day, before they moved to, they're on USA, but before they stay on USA, only, and they didn't give us here's the tournament, it starts next week. It was here it is. But get the excitement going, get the buzz, because if you search YouTube in the last 2 days and just search United States Championship, all you see is this belt. So it's doing its job. It definitely has started the buzz. It started giving us something to talk about, and it's something nice to look at because the white definitely catches your eye with that gold and the background of it a lot better than the black strap does. Similar to how the World Heavyweight Championship, when we saw it, we was like, oh, that's great. Then when we saw Rhea debut the white one, we're like, wait a minute, why is that one so much? It just looks aesthetically 100 times better, like I even said for the NXT belt. The women's title looks a lot better to me than the men because somebody on that white strap, we see more details. So I was happy about it.
Really huge. How did you
Yes, sir.
feel when you first heard that? Hey, they are introducing a women's United States Championship, and it looked the way it did. What
Well,
were
as far as the look,
Mhm.
I was already ecstatic about that because the regular men's US title, that look, that design, it was growing on me.
Mhm.
So as far as the design of it, I was like, okay, the white strap, it does matter. Okay, I'm with it. But then I automatically started thinking about names of who could be the first champion.
Mhm.
Then from there, I took it to what I said last night on Championship Culture about storylines and building
Mhm.
characters, right? Usually, when you look at characters, you look for them to build themselves up through storylines, right?
Sure.
This is one of those instances where you take a brand new title and you can use that to help build storylines and build characters, right? And you're allowing the young ladies to get more time on TV. So I see it as a huge opportunity for the ladies to get some time to shine. I know it's going to eventually probably going to be a SmackDown exclusive belt, but if I'm correct, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's going to float throughout the shows right now, right? Because that's the only mid-card title, right? I believe Raw Superstars can go after it, right?
I
That's
didn't,
what
I didn't
I'm
hear.
hearing.
I didn't hear anything
Or am I
in detail
tripping?
about that.
You
Okay.
might be tripping, but that makes sense.
Okay, well, maybe that's just what I want right now.
Sure.
I don't know. Who knows?
Because,
But look,
ladies and
look.
gentlemen, that's called working ourselves into a shoot.
He
Well,
said,
look,
"Well, maybe
I-
that's just what I want." How about that?
Facts. I don't think the IC title is going to come anytime soon. Maybe at the beginning of the year. So we got a little bit of time to play around with this. This is going to act as a trial run for the young
Mhm.
ladies. And then, like I said, it's just there to build characters, build storylines for the ladies. So I was ecstatic about it. So
I think that to your point, brother, I think it's going to be storyline about the introduction of a women's IC title to Raw.
mhm.
I think they're looking to make a splash on Netflix and stuff like that, and
Right.
there's a competitive drive between Adam Pearce and
Absolutely.
and Nick Aldis. You know what I mean? So I can easily see, Adam Pearce going, okay, all right, since the women are doing so great, you know what I mean? With United States Championship on SmackDown, Raw's gonna, you know what I mean, trying to because they're
official.
like, yeah, like it's there you go, it's official, debut of Raw. We're gonna have our own, women's Intercontinental Championship. But yes, I believe it's my turn. Now, before I get into details and before things get a little spicy, things get a little hot, I got to put myself in the right space mentally to discuss.
And on the big screen.
There it is.
I'm going to the big screen, I promise you, but here we go. And the blue. The problem is, I'm just not seeing enough blue. Let me tell you why I was disappointed when I first saw this championship. Yes, I was happy. We all knew this moment was coming. But I said to myself, I thought we were going to introduce more blue. We need to have the blue behind the stars to represent the red, the white, and the blue. And when I saw the Women's United States Championship, and it had no blue, I said, wait a minute. Does this mean we're not going to get any more blue with the original United States Championship and even with this one? And I said, that disappoints me. But with that being said, thank you, Orioles fans. With that being said,
you dropped the ball.
I was waiting. I figured you would jump into it too, but you didn't.
I did. Yeah, I'm sorry.
With that being said, I am glad that the women have a new United States Championship that they can compete with. And I think this leads into another mid-card championship that will show up on Raw. And it is well-deserved. The women do need more opportunities to grow, to build, and they're showing their worth as equals, not just, accessories or lesser thans. So that's my initial thoughts of the Women's United States Championship.
I'm gonna give you one tidbit to think about with that title.
Let's talk about it.
Think about it on TV. Like I wanted the blue initially, right? And then when I saw people painting the blue on the back of it, I was like, okay, good enough, right? Maybe not. The way that the belts translate on TV, those stars can kind of come off like they're gems or stones because there's no stones on these belts, right? And
True.
I think if you put the blue on it, it's going to take away from the stars and look almost like cheesy or have the chance of it not looking as clean or as shiny. Because think about the network logo, right? When we got the blue version, the red version of Raw and SmackDown, and all that was behind the W, it kind of felt like, why did you do this? It looked like it didn't. But then we got Romans. We're like, okay, that looks more like a more championship, not like I made this to sell a toy.
You got dang turned, Coach, brother guy. You turned on us. You freaking turned on us. You were part of the blue group. You were part of Blue Gang.
I was.
Now all of a sudden you're saying the gems and the pop and the color and all the stuff. What made you change your mind about this? Like what? Where? Because this is flabbergasted.
The NXT titles. Because remember, we got stuck with those. It's the color splatter 2.0 belts just felt like it was like, why is there so much color, right? Like it was just too much in your face. The network logo was good for the WWE, good for the Universal. It was the belt color itself. But the women, it looked like, we just made the background blue and white. If they would have just kept it white, it probably would have looked good with just the swoosh being that different color like they did for the Universal. And Triple H showed us with the NXT belt, well, let's say Shawn Michaels, no color, just let it show on TV because we're divided on this show. Like, I think you and Hugh like the men, and Hollywood, which one do you like? Do you like the men or the women NXT belt? The women one?
Either or, to be honest with you.
Okay. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of dividing you because it's like trying to please everybody, but everybody can have something that they like in it. So seeing that less color actually made a big difference for me.
You turned
because it worked.
You turned.
I'm just giving you a perspective to think about because now you're thinking about the Universal title that was all one color versus the Raw title, which was white and had that red background. It looked like it was painted on, didn't it? Onto a white strap.
This is where I'm disappointed. You guys did a whole show. You did a second show on United States Championship. It is retrospective. And you talk about the history of the United States Championship and the lineage attached to it. There's one in your hand and there's three of them behind you. What's the one thing that those championships, every last United States Championship that you have behind you, except WCW because you hate WCW? What's the one thing that those championship belts have behind you? They've got the blue behind the stars.
They got the blue.
Thank you.
But to my point, look at this. Look how the light hits it.
No.
Look at the difference. Which one looks like a bigger deal? Which one looks like a bigger deal?
It doesn't.
This looks like a toy. This looks like a toy belt.
That's always look like a toy.
No,
it looks cheesy.
But let's think about it. Think about it. Even if it does look like a toy, right? There's history to it. There's lineage. You guys did 2 shows about the guys connected to that championship, and you were talking about it. Hey, what makes a championship important? Is it the championship? Is it the superstar? Many a superstar made that championship important. And after watching y'all show, I said I got to get both versions of that belt now. I said because there's too many. Because I was trying to put together another list of my favorite United States champions. You got mad at the IC title without having blue in it. And now you want to add blue?
No, remember, I said this was fine because the undisputed belt.
When the new championship, you said,
and I said everybody was
I gotta get another one. I said, right.
Yeah, because they came out with another version. Yeah. But look how the light hits it.
Okay. That may be true, but I need blue.
I understand.
I know
you need the blue.
Put the blue in the background, man.
Give us the blue. So
that's not even the American flag. What is that?
That's what I'm trying to say, though. Like that's just what I'm trying to say. Like if you see that from a distance, I think to me the United States flag would pop a little bit more if you had the blue.
Right.
Like how do you put the United States? Look at that. Look, what does that have? That has blue. Look at that.
A little bit of blue.
It has the blue. And that was in Japan. That's in a completely different country. And they recognize the blue.
Right.
So why are you in the United States of America and you don't put the red, white, and the blue?
A little bit of blue. A little bit of blue.
So
they reduced the blue. They saw what we did. They saw what we did here, right? And they said, "Oh, we got to scale that back a little."
But I'm gonna tell you one thing though. If I don't know who you are and I see those on your shoulder, I know that's clearly United States Championship. One way or another, whether I watch wrestling or not, that's clear. I'm gonna look at that and say, I don't know what belt that is he got, but those are he got some type of United States championships on his belt. Right. You know why?
Okay.
Because it's got the red, it's got the white, and the blue. These don't have the blue. It's
so
not
what's your
there.
Justification on this?
You actually have a WCW belt? Did he just get that? There's
no,
blue on
it. You know I have these WCW belts. But look, a little bit of blue.
Look at the blue.
Look at
there is blue. That's the one that's look at it. It's an entire United States flag on that version, and that's the Steve Austin. That's the stunning. That's the stunning Steve Austin version. And look at the side plates. Show the side plates. Show the side plates. Look at that.
Yeah,
it's
the flag.
Okay, it's the blue.
The flag.
It's blue. There's red, it's white, and the blue.
But look how much less color it is, and you like this belt. You love this WCW belt, don't you?
That belt saved me when that ugly oval IC title came out of nowhere.
Hey, stop it. The IC title was great. But
don't lie.
To the point I'm trying to make, look at the difference. And you prefer this over all of this.
But there's a different reason.
Subtle.
But look, it's not because of the blue.
It's not? Why? No. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's hear it. Because you're going to prove the point of the blue.
That championship is a beauty all the way across the board because it reminds me of the IC championship. That belt would save me when that ugly oval championship came out of nowhere for the IC title. I said, this is the best looking mid-card title. There's red, there's white, there's blue. Every belt that you put over your shoulder, except the new one, makes me go, that's clearly the United States Championship. I can tell.
And you just like this one because it reminds you of your television title.
Okay, all of them. Look at that. I can tell you have United States Championships across your shoulder. Mm-hmm. That's just my whole thing about it. And I don't see nothing wrong with adding a little blue.
A little bit of blue. Okay, you're right.
that's just my thing. That's just what I prefer. Because like I look at this belt, I'm like, all right, this isn't enough blue for me. Like, just give me the blue right here, and this little space up here, and this little space up here, and I know we got a United States Championship. That's the only reason why I had not officially like really jumped into this championship. Now I didn't like it at first, but I saw it in person. It really is though, because I saw it in person. Brian H had it, and I was like, okay, this belt is actually really nice. I said, but I think the problem is I need it to be blue because it looks really. I think it just will look so much better.
Like when I first got, I said, "Wow," you know, it hit you with the. Now let me ask you this, and I know we sticking on the title. Would you want any colors on the side plate? Would you want any colors here? Now I changed this. This is not the stock one. This is all for WWE Championship.
I don't need it. If you give me the blue, if you give me the blue in the faceplate, I don't need it.
You don't need it around the stars, like
no,
around.
I don't, because you don't have to overdo it.
Change it anyway.
Right.
No, I'm talking about the actual, not the plate, as in the actual, not the removable side plate. I'm talking about around it. Because remember on the original one before this, it had that on the sides.
Because it's
like the
big
stars
enough.
were colored.
Because it's big enough, I wouldn't need it. I wouldn't need it as much. So, like that's the only reason why I'm like, no, I don't think I need. I don't need it all the way to that degree. But it will be cool if, like I said, give me blue so I know that I'm looking at United States Championship. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So that you know how we do. That's the aesthetics. But like I said, we can debate that all day, and I think that conversation will come up later on somewhere. But now it's time to put you guys in.
I'm surprised LA Knight he didn't put blue on it when they gave him different colored stripes.
Once again, I was disappointed.
It's an LA Knight all over.
Now it's time. That was just boring. That looked like a legacy title. Now it's time to put you brothers on the hot seat. All right, good brothers. Here we go. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
We have to decide who is going to be the inaugural, the first WWE Women's United States Champion. But no, it's not going to be that easy. You can't tell me why or who without explaining to me the purpose of this championship first and foremost, and what is it supposed to be accomplishing? Because that, at the end of the day, determines who should be the first. Now, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, let me break it down. No pun intended, Brian H. What is this United States Championship meant to do? What are we trying to do with this? What's the priority of this championship? We don't know yet, so we have to figure it out. And because we're the realm, we do these things best. Is this championship here to build a new star? Is this championship here to create a new legacy? Is this championship here to elevate former stars? I don't know. But we have to figure out, why did they introduce now this particular championship? What is it meant to do? What is it here to accomplish? And it can change over time. We know that. But we're talking about at first. This is the inaugural. This is the first. This is the beginning of a new lineage, a new history. So we're going to discuss who should be the first one. And not only who should be the first one, but why and what are they meant to accomplish by them being the first Women's United States Champion. Who wants to freaking go first?
I got
you. Brian H.
Right.
Here we go.
So
you are on the clock.
Well, I think, and shout out to Stephanie Hardy watching in. I agree with, the workhorse title, right? The secondary storylines, the closing out the B house shows, right? Because you Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, they're established enough. They're gonna be doing all the main television, right? So when I see that, it's only one answer. And I say this, that it should be the one and only Mia Yim. She's proven herself that she can go in the ring. And one thing we know about Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they are more in sync than there's ever been in sync within WWE NXT. Now, what I mean by that is, most of the time we saw somebody get promoted in the previous regime. As much as I hate referring to that because it's dead now, it's 2 years ago. But to make this point, I will. When you look back most of the time somebody come up, they get a mask, they get a new move set, they get a new hole, and you're like, man, but where's my black and gold version? Right? Now it's been
fresh
sort of,
coat of paint.
yeah. And now it's a seamless transition because the brothers are in sync, right? They're best friends. Now, one thing you notice that a lot of times the NXT serves as a testing ground. And I think they did very well with their mid-card championship. I was not in on putting it on Kalani Jordan, but that's the reason why I don't book the shows. It's above my pay grade. But every now and again it's fun to fantasy book. But I watched the pattern, right? Now she is a made woman because I saw her and that belt get elevated together. Now the chase is special. Watching her chase and having a match and coming up short with Thea Hale is special to watch, right? So I know we could say Chelsea Green, but Chelsea Green is already established. She's an established personality. She's somebody who she could win the title, and I wouldn't be upset. I think it would still be fun, but her losing the title would be fun because it's another story for her. Another way she could say she got screwed over. Maybe she'll even say, I got screwed over because I'm not American. So I think, yeah, and she's got way more personality.
See, you guys don't remember that part of WCW. Remember
I do remember that.
When he was
title,
he changed the United States champion to the Canadian title.
Saskatchewan. Yeah.
He felt like he was being looked over, Brian H. But go ahead.
So yeah, that's the thing. And I think those two will have a fun feud for it. I think with, like I said, Michin is, hand selected by Triple H, not once, but twice. So I think now, going out there, she's had the first run in NXT, had to really find herself. The first one, the HBIC, it was cool, the head baddie in charge, it was cool. But then, we kind of got away from it. Then the Retribution stuff happened. Insert Tommy Lee Jones and the race that. But she came back and been doing her thing. And like I said, been having incredible matches, whether it's with Io Sky, whether it's with Bailey, whether it's with Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. So now reward her, put the title on her, have that first lineage, and they both grow and establish together. It's not like she isn't a name. Kalani Jordan, like I said, NXT is the proving ground. Kalani Jordan wasn't a known name in wrestling. Now she is. She's making the media rounds, and that's the one thing that Mia Yim does well. He does great media, so she's not going to be a PR nightmare.
Okay, so Brian H., correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds to me you were going with the idea that we're going to use the championship to elevate a superstar. Let's use this opportunity to reward someone that has been putting in work and let the lineage grow together. And am I in the ballpark?
Yep.
Okay. So you've made your case. Who would like to go next as to who they think should be the first United States champion, women's United States champion, and what that championship is meant to accomplish for the first go round? Because we're talking this is the first time. Because I know we have different takes, but how about you, brother? Let's just go to you, brother Hugh. Who do you think should be the first women's United States champion, and why? And what is this championship supposed to be used for? What do you think they're trying to accomplish with this championship? Are they trying to build a lineage, or are they just trying to use another championship to help build new stars? Because there's a difference. It's because the lineage is supposed to be bigger than the stars, and you can make the star by adding the star to the lineage, right? Or on one hand, you could say, hey, we have somebody that's on the verge of being a star. We give them a championship, and them being a championship will build them up. So it's not so much that, you build a lineage, but the lineage is not as important as the star holding it. So there's two schools of thought. There's multiple schools, but these are the two that we're looking at the most right now. What say you, brother Hugh?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Brian, but I'm difficult. So
you difficult? Of course not.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm difficult. So what I'm going to say is we're going to use this title. Well, the first person to win this title is going to be a big name. It's going to be an established superstar, because you have to make a point. Like, look, this title is important right off top. No disrespect to anybody else. Like you have your Mia Yims, you have your Zelenas and whatnots. I love them, but those to me, those guys or those girls are people that can win the title. They can get their flowers later a little bit later on once the title is actually established. So for me, I would say I have a couple names that I'm ringing off, but I'm gonna give you one. You have your Naomi's. I think she's a big enough star to make that seem important right off top. As much as I don't really want it to happen, you have Charlotte Flair in the mix too, right? Becky Lynch. No, Bailey. You said what?
They're established heavy hitters.
Absolutely. But my only beef with that is that those girls, especially Bailey, Becky, and Charlotte, they've done so much already. So it's like it could be another chance for somebody else to build and be there and be on their status. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to go for Naomi because she hasn't had a title in how long? About 4
she
or 5
never
years?
lost her last title she had.
Absolutely, right? She's still a big enough name. And I asked Brandon this question on Championship Culture. Who is there a big enough name besides Naomi? Is there a big enough name to make this title relevant off top? Because like I said before, we said the Meechins, we said the Zelina Vegas. So if we're gonna go that route, are their names big enough? Are their superstars? Is their stardom that big enough to make this title relevant?
Ooh, that's the $10 million question.
Don't get me wrong; they're gonna get their chance. They're gonna get their ratings. But the first person, like I said, I agree with Brian. But the first person has to be a heavy hitter. You know,
I like this. I knew this was going to happen. Yes,
I'm gonna give you. You know what? You're not wrong. I mean, I'm still, I say that with 1,000,000% bias anyway, but I still I don't not believe anything I said. I'm not, I'm like Skip Bayless on this one. Like what I said is what I believe, and I'm sticking with it. But I will say, if you want to say somebody who's gonna kind of hit the ground running, sorry, it's the only answer. I'm gonna pick a name that hasn't had a title yet.
Yeah.
And I would say Chelsea Green because of her crossover appeal, which she's already done outside of the ring. Chelsea Green's been doing the media appearances, the movies, the cameos and stuff. Like she's already plotting, probably low-key plotting to get back on Raw to get her face in front of those Netflix executives. So that's the person who jumps on the mind that hasn't won a world championship yet.
Right.
And
that was actually my first pick. As soon as I saw that title, that's the first thing I tweeted out. That has Chelsea Green's name written all over
it. And I could agree with Zelina Vega on the sense of she has she's also in that crossover appeal. She's also hitting the ground running. She's heavy into the anime community. She's heavy into the horror community. So, her walking around with gold on these red carpets, on these events, at these Comic-Cons, it would make sense.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So brother, you're saying, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to be in the same ballpark as you. You're saying you think that the title needs to be established first. Right. Your thing is, you're saying, hey, yes, you can put it on a workhorse. That's cool and all, but how do we make people care about this championship? Because you're not only trying to build a superstar, you're trying to build a lineage. And if it's just another belt, people are just going to say, oh, that's just another belt. Right. How many times have they put once again, championship culture talks about it all the time. Right. They gave the United States championship to Rusev, but it didn't mean anything. It just, he was holding it. He had it, but it didn't really elevate him. Cesaro had the United States championship, but it didn't make him a superstar. He just held the belt because he had good matches. Right. But then we look at those guys and we say that was a down period when it comes to the United States championship because it didn't mean as much. But then when the Miz gets his hands on it, when Zack Ryder has his champs, these guys that are in these constant situations that make that championship important. When John Cena has it and all of a sudden he has a United States Open challenge. And because he has a championship, people want to see who he's going to face. You know, when AJ Styles has it, all of a sudden it's important because it's AJ Styles. We're talking established brands carrying this title, but it made it important. So you're saying that needs to be established first for this championship, and then you can have all these young ladies chases, because now you give people a reason to care about why they're chasing, not just, oh, okay, all right, you put the belt on a superstar, but if she's not involved in any storylines, she's just coming out there having matches, it doesn't feel special or important, and then the women may feel slighted, or the fans may feel slighted. So this is this that's your wheelhouse. Okay,
That's
here we
what I'm
go.
going with. Yep.
All right, fair enough. I see both sides. This is going to be good because I'm putting together my own takes in my head. You know, you guys make me change my mind. Brother Guy, you official in the hot seat. United States Championship, Women's United States Championship. Who should be the first United States Women's Champion? And what is this championship supposed to accomplish in the WWE now that we've introduced a women's mid-card title? Sometimes mid-card titles are just workhorse titles. Sometimes titles have prestige. Sometimes who carries the title determines of how important it is. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. We don't talk about D'Lo Brown and the Godfather's run as IC champions, but we talk about the Miz for a reason. We talk about Daniel Bryan for a reason, right? We talk about these monumental moments where these things become relevant and important. So, with that being said, who do you feel should be the first women's United States champion and why?
So, I'm sorry, we both doing the same thing. I'm
One of those days.
completely, yeah, I'm completely split in my decision, and I'm split for this reason.
Mhm.
We can sit here and debate all day about when we talk about the first ever, whose name do you want to be attached to it? Because when we say the first ever women's champion that became the Raw champion, it was Charlotte, because she was the last Divas champion and morphed into the women's champion, which became the Raw women's champion. We can talk about Becky Lynch being the first SmackDown champion, right? But when we talk about the North American title, it was debuted in front of a lot of eyes. WrestleMania weekend, right? And then we had a tournament, and it seemed like a who's who of NXT. These women that we have been watching and following and said, oh, now they have something else to fight for, right? And first choice of the belt, okay, cool. We were like, but why? You know what I mean? Like, we weren't like completely sold, but it was like, okay, Kalani Jordan, all right. I was all like, Fallon Henley should have been the first, but now Fallon Henley got it, and it kind of feels like, all right, do something. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the introduction of a belt, let's think about this. If Kairi Sane was not the first New Japan NWJP Women's Champion, would that belt feel as important as it is? If Willow didn't win, no matter how she won, whether Mercedes was hurt and they called the audible, whatever it may be, Willow being the first New Japan Strong, will we not still be fans and supporters and saying, hey, look, she's proven she can do it. Look what she did with that belt, right? So with all of that, when you establish a new title on a new network, a new era within WWE, and when I say new era, going to USA Network, going to Netflix, being in social media spaces, you need to have somebody that instantly not only can fit that role, but bring more eyes to it.
So when money,
when I say I'm split between these two decisions for this reason. We have a proven person in Naomi that give her the title. It's going to look great as long as she has, because like, all right, if the Powerpuff Girls keep the tag belts and her with that, it's going to feel like, oh, they're just holding the titles, right? Because it's going to be, oh, look, the main event, a match from WrestleMania, look, all three got titles. All right, but what are they doing with it? Let's call it what it is. Yeah, that's nice there. This game, they're doing the media run. Great, but what is Naomi doing? Is she really headlining the show? Is she ending the show? What is she really doing, right? So that's why I'm saying yes to Naomi for nostalgia purpose, because she could carry it. She can have those great matches. She can be in front of the camera. She can do the airport test. She can do all of that stuff that you're saying, right? You can split all three of them up and send one here, one there, one here, and when you're in your city, right? But then on the other end of the spectrum, you got a Chelsea Green who has proven to you, look what I do with 1 minute of TV time or 10 minutes of TV time. Look what I do in the social media space. Remember when she lost her tag partner? We were all glued to her social media trying to figure out what was she going to do with her tag belt. Look how much we were invested in her because she was what she was doing. So when I say I'm split, it's between Naomi and Chelsea because you give Chelsea Green this, all I'm going to say is, oh my God, I think that we would literally be having the year of Chelsea Green where she would probably be a bigger focus and more important than the WWE Women's Champion because she's proven to us, you give me a minute, you're going to talk about me in this conversation. You give me 10, you give me a social media platform, you put her in these spaces. Imagine just her being that person. Whether she wins or lose or draw or just, why do I have to fight tonight? I'm the champion. I just did this week. Why am I doing this? You don't treat, I should have went to Raw. You know, all those type of things that she can do. But also, think about that last match. Who are we talking about in that tag team match? She didn't have a 5-star match, but she had a 5-star entertaining match the whole time. You know what I mean? But Chelsea can pull out those matches when she needs to. So I'm completely split because my heart doesn't want Bailey, a Becky, a Sasha. We don't need that because that's I'm going to compare like I did on Championship Culture. When Becky Lynch went to NXT and won that women's title, it was a surge. It was like a jolt for that title, right? So now you put, at any time if it has one of those lows or one of those dips, you put one of those women in it and watch how it'll surge. So I'm torn between Naomi and Chelsea.
All right. I guess
I'm
it's
not discrediting Michin. I just don't. I hate to say it. Michin would be because she deserves it, not that she can't do it, but it's because she's. I want to say the second runner-up, but it's them two and then Michin, because I really thought that Michin was going to be the North American champion to be, but yep.
So for me, here's my conflict because I have a couple of questions that need to be answered. Before I say who should be the first, right? One, what are we here to do, right? How do we make it? There's got to be more than one thing we're doing besides just introducing a United States Championship, right? I'm like, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? It's not just about having a championship, right? It's about building stars, giving women more opportunities and platforms to be important. Now, we've watched this product for a long time, and just because you have a championship doesn't make you important. This is what makes me nervous with just putting it on a workhorse because she deserves it. Oh, she'd be great at it. Maybe so. True, right? You look at how they did it in NXT, but in the back of your mind, you can always say it was very low risk because it was developmental. Everybody was pretty much all unknowns to the WWE audience, the main audience, right? So pick your poison with who you decide should be the first one in NXT. Now, what makes a star? The important dance partners that make you care about why they're involved in the first place. To this day, I know Tiffany Stratton because of Becky Lynch. I was not watching NXT 2.0, but there's two superstars that went down there to help elevate that brand. Dolph Ziggler, Becky Lynch. Two established world champions who went there and said, I'm chasing after these titles. That immediately made those championships important to me because I wasn't watching, but Dolph Ziggler, Becky Lynch, two of my favorite wrestlers. I'm going to go see what's going on because whatever they're doing down there is a reason for it. That's why I went down there. I went to see what was going on. I saw Braun Breaker. I said, oh, this Braun Breaker, I knew who he was, but I said, yo, him working with Zigzag is going to be a big deal. But I saw this new young lady, Tiffany Stratton, and I said, oh my goodness, she has it. I would have never known who she was until she got to the main roster because I wasn't watching NXT 2.0. It wasn't my NXT, and I wasn't taking the time to see it. But I know who she is because of Becky Lynch. She wasn't there long, but she had their women's championship. They had a feud, and I said, oh yeah, she's up next. But if Becky Lynch wasn't in that feud with her, I wouldn't know who Tiffany Stratton is. So I don't want to downplay the importance of an established name, kind of establishing, hey, like you said, it gave that championship that jolt, that version of NXT. Championship culture, you guys have a show of different versions of NXT of different eras, and different eras have different importance for those championships. Becky Lynch is tied to that lineage of that championship during that time because she helped make new stars, along with people like Natalya and so many others that have been involved in NXT, this version of it. So when it comes to the United States champion, I'm like, I wouldn't mind a Bayley or Becky Lynch or one of the 4 horsewomen. Pick your poison, whoever you want. My biggest thing is it's got to be somebody that's going to make the championship important. It's got to be somebody that you're going to do something with, that you know you plan to put them in segments, you plan to keep them involved. So it doesn't matter who chases them. When the person who is chasing the championship, they immediately become important because there's something that's there, not just he has the belt, put on a good match, see who's the winner of the match, and they have the belt next. I think that would do the championship a big disservice. So who do I think should be the first United States Women's Champion? And my pick is Charlotte Flair. I imagine what it would do for Zelina Vega to be in a feud with Charlotte Flair. Imagine what it would do for Chelsea Green to be in a feud with Charlotte Flair. Imagine what it would do for Naomi to be in a feud with Charlotte Flair. Imagine all the young talent that could come up that you could send to and say, imagine you think she's the evil queen anyway. She's going to come back for a quick pop. She's been gone, but she's like, listen, this is my kingdom. I don't even want this championship. This is a stepping stone. This is where it begins for me. You guys talked about it last night, the connection between her father. Her father was United States champion, before he was NWA's World Heavyweight champion. She's like, I needed this championship. And who else is better to have this, to carry this lineage, to start this off but me? Her name's attached to it. So imagine everybody that comes behind her is like, no, it's not just a regular championship. Charlotte Flair had this belt. She's a 15-time world champion. And that she's the first United States champion. Who wouldn't want to beat her? Charlotte Flair is going to get a marquee spot anyway. So if she has the United States championship, and now you're the number 1 contender for the United States championship, guess what that means? You officially get a marquee spot. Can you say you're going to get that same spot if somebody else that earned it or deserves it gets it? Where are you going to be at on the card, on the pay-per-view? Where are you going to put your match on WrestleMania? But if Charlotte Flair has it, she's got a main event spot already. She's not curtain jerking for anybody. Charlotte Flair comes back, she's going to the top of the card. And if she has that United States championship, and guess what? The young ladies who've been fighting and earning their spots for it, guess what? Oh, shoot, we going to the top of the card because Charlotte has it. She was going to be there anyway. But because she holds the championship, guess where I'm going? To the top of the card. I get to be in front of an audience that may not be familiar with. They know her. They know she's the evil queen. But now I'm trying to make a name for myself. Imagine Zelina Vega versus Charlotte Flair. Like, who wouldn't want that opportunity? It's more than a match. It's a draw.
Now, here's the thing, though, because you're not wrong. But here's the thing.
Go ahead.
You just got to be careful who's the world champion. Like, as the world title picture is now, it's fine. Liv has been cooking. Nia Jackson's been cooking. But let's say Tiffany Stratton becomes she beats and takes out Nia, right?
Okay.
Now you run that danger zone because I don't think Tiffany Stratton can hold her own just yet on the same card as a Charlotte Flair. So then you have a situation where it would be like, I don't know, let's say like John Cena being the U.S. champion, but Cesaro being the world champion. We're gonna tune in to see John Cena. It's just a matter of, if you go with Charlotte, you got to make sure your world champion is strong enough to hold her own.
Well, my question is, even if she's strong enough or not, is that going to stop Charlotte Flair from coming back and still being at the top of the card?
No, that's the point. But I'm saying you don't want to discredit your world title.
But my question is, how would the United States Championship discredit the world title if it's the match that's important, right? If Zelina Vega is trying to make a name for herself, right? And we say, okay, cool, we got to make her important somehow. Okay, so even if it's no United States Championship, we're going to do, she comes back and she's beefing with Charlotte Flair. She's going to go to that top of that card regardless. I mean, we watch WrestleManias where your world champions played second fiddle. You know, we watch Chris Jericho and Triple H go, what's the point? Rock and Hogan just came out and did that. You know what I mean? It was like, well, that match was going to happen regardless. And it's not like it was for the IC title, The Rock versus Hogan. It was like certain matches.
That's the difference, though, because it's almost crazy. As crazy as it's going to sound, it's better to have, this is the way I see it. It's better for your world championship to become second fiddle to a blood feud than to a mid-card title.
Ooh, wait a minute. You might have just caused some issues. Say that one more time, please, because I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'm see now my wrestling wheels are turning, but that's a hot take. Say that one more time, please.
I would if I'm the world champion, right? I would rather become second fiddle to a blood feud story than a mid-card championship story. Not so much the match, right? Because matches are matches. Sometimes some might be on whatever. But when you let's just say, imagine if Savage and Steamboat's feud was hotter than Hogan and Andre's. Because now you run it happened. Matter of fact, if we being honest,
I'm sure it's happened before. I'm just trying to my wheels are spinning.
Think about it. CM Punk and Drew was the hottest thing on Raw.
No, you're missing the point. CM Punk and Drew wasn't for a title. It's okay to come. Their situation.
No, I see. No, I'm just saying that was fine because I would if they had it was for the Intercontinental title, you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, that's more important than the world title.
So like if Hogan and Andre was like if that feud was just lukewarm,
sure,
because even though Davey and Brat main evented SummerSlam, Hogan, Warrior and Savage feud was still a hotter feud just because of it was for the world title. Flair was involved. It's just that was a hometown feud.
Are you sure about that? Because if you ask me, there's only one match they talk about from that SummerSlam.
No, but I'm talking about going into the story, into the show.
All right.
It was a family friendly. That's all it was. Where these two are two baby faces that didn't like each other.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't want the feud. It's okay for a blood feud because it's personal, like you said, Drew and Punk. It's okay for that to outshine a Gunther.
But the title match.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's about a championship, But you can eat and live off a feud. You don't want to fall second fiddle to that. Because like Cena Rock.
Sure.
Cena Rock was fine because even though Punk hated it, but at the end of the day, that was a feud. But imagine if that would have been for the IC title, because then people said, "Well, why isn't this the world title match?"
That's actually a good point. You've got me tipping now. So my question is, has that happened before? And if it has happened before, does it matter now because it's the women? Can you think of a situation, Brother Hugh? No, I can think of a time in a smaller space, like it happened in Ring of Honor, right? We saw when, I believe, who was the world champion at the time? I want to say it might have been
Davey Richards.
No, it was a little bit after it. It was that era when Jay Lethal was the world television champion.
Oh, okay. So
and
Jay Briscoe or Adam Cole,
or somebody else whose name that usually we don't mention because of things.
As a world champion?
Yeah, big guy with a mother.
I know he was. He was a world champion.
He was in that era. He was in that mix. That's what I'm talking about. Like he was in that era too. And like at one point in time, like you said, Adam Cole, big fella, and Jay Briscoe, they were on that space. Kevin Owens was on his way out the door, and Jay Lethal had a run. And I remember watching it, and I was like, bro, the way they're booking him, I can't tell who's the world champion and who's not. It's because on some pay-per-views, on some shows, Jay Lethal was closing the show, and he was like, "This is the company's title. This is the most important championship because I'm carrying it." And I was like, it felt like we got two world champions until they eventually gave him both championships.
Yeah, so that buried the champion.
Well,
if we're being honest,
it happened on a smaller level. Can we think of a time where this has happened on a on the main roster? Because now it makes enough sense. I say, well, shoot, I might got to change my pick now because I'm like, well, you kind of got a point. Well, just if that's the case, why not just send Charlotte directly back to the world title picture? But
yeah, because a Liv Morgan Charlotte feud puts Liv Morgan in a new stratosphere. She's already in Venus. That sends her to Pluto. Or I don't know how y'all rank planets, but you know what I mean. A Charlotte,
no planets anymore.
A Charlotte and Nia reignited feud continues to elevate Nia. And Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Charlotte, boom, just like it did for Carmella.
See that now we got to take a step down. All right, that's okay. I don't mind, but this is why we had a conversation, brother Hugh. Let me ask you, because you've been quiet. I got because you be cooking in your brain. I got to see what you got in the kitchen. Based off what Brian H says, because that's a new wrinkle. I was like, okay.
As you say that, I'm looking at all these WrestleManias and I'm trying to go through,
trying to think, trying to figure out, like, yo, so like where Brother Brandon was. Brother Brandon was you said Naomi or Chelsea Green. So now we got to kind of stay in that lane. Like we're taking a step down. And I'm like, okay, cool. We probably got to stay in this because I went overly ambitious. I'm like, put it on the big name. Let it be a big deal. But then, you bring a point. I'm like, oh, shoot. He's kind of got a point. It's like you said, it's one thing if it's a blood feud or there's a reason or it's a personal thing. Like you said, like Brother Brandon said, we saw it with Drew and freaking CM Punk because that was more important than a world title match at one point. But there was so much to it. It didn't have to be about the championship, but you can't imagine Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. It's just like, well, wait a minute.
Oh, I got one, but they didn't book it right, but it should have been.
Speak on
it. When DDP and Goldberg, they was established to DDP. It was a good job, right? But if that feud between Sting and Bret Hart would have been booked the right way and Sting wasn't, on the sauce at the time, that would have outshined that feud. Think about that dream match that we all wanted as wrestling fans, and that was for the United States title. Plus, it was still NWO Wolfpack versus NWO Hollywood.
I'm a little triggered by that whole situation because
I know a lot of people hate Halloween Havoc 98.
No, it's cool. You brought it up. No, it's fine.
I like it. That's the WCW version of WrestleMania 9.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's just it was not that bad. First and foremost, but let me go.
That had like 5 potential main event matches.
It really did, but WrestleMania 9 didn't. And also at least WrestleMania 9, the pay-per-view went all the way through. It didn't get cut off for time purposes.
And guess what? They're gonna run it back, baby. Vegas.
Yeah.
Your first WrestleMania, and I'm gonna stand right there and I'm gonna point to Caesar's Palace, and I'm like, real.
And I'm gonna say, Brian H, why are we going past? Why are we going past the dumpsters and the freaking sewage plant?
We're gonna walk on hollow ground.
Oh my goodness, Brother Hugh, talking about hollow ground. Does what Brian H said to you change your perspective? Because it kind of changed mine. I didn't want to change it, but I was like, okay, it makes too much sense. Does it
50 episodes, baby?
We're here. That's to cheers. Cheers to 150 episodes. Does it change your perspective on how you book this championship now? Because I feel like now we have barriers. See, when we first started this conversation, it was like wide open because nothing has happened yet, right? But now we're kind of like, okay, we're putting up some boundaries now. We're making some points. Brother Brandon said some things. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like I said, he said it makes sense to put it on Naomi. It would work for all the right reasons. But he's like, but there's something so pulling about Chelsea Green that makes you, if someone's going to want to beat her face in every week, like I said, she does it with a minute of time. She's going to be insufferable if she has more time. Like, she's going to be like The Miz. Like, think about it. The Miz's whole run. I mean, you literally said that he looks like a frog in her face. I can hear the disdain in your voice. It's because they gave The Miz time. And he was somebody you wanted to see get his face beat in. He had the nerve to win the WWE Championship at one point in time. But it's like,
that's why he was, look at him as Daniel Bryan's coach on NXT. And
that was the
Daniel
worst.
Bryan, you get what I'm saying? But when he got that title, he was like, yes, take that title off of him. We were all, but I'm not, I hate to say it because Chelsea, I don't want to compare her to The Miz. I just want to compare her to imagine her, the highlights of her.
Yes,
no, I'm saying
because
she's a good, but she was more likable. Like Like the Miz was like, oh god, this guy did this. But with her, you were like,
And she's much
did you see
prettier.
what she did on
Mhm.
Good Mark? Did you see her on Fox 45 this morning? Look what Chelsea did this morning. It would be that type of energy. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It would always be like, oh, WWE superstar Chelsea is on X, Y, and Z. She's on the talk show, whatever town they is. She's on the late night show. She's going to be everywhere.
I feel like that's my reason why Chelsea shouldn't be the first one, honestly.
Oh, it's getting good.
Because of that factor right there, what you explained. She can make that title relevant out of nowhere. If it's at a point where there needs to be a transition, you have Chelsea there, and she's gonna make it relevant, just like she did with the tag titles. She lost her tag partner. What did she do? She went to social media, just like her husband did. She went to social media and made herself relevant. She made the tag team titles relevant, right?
Yeah.
So held auditions. Like, come on now. Like she came up with a creative way to keep herself in the mix.
I forgot about the auditions.
Right. So that's why I say my first pick was Chelsea initially, because I'm like, all right, Chelsea, she deserves it. She's the MVP of this match. She was the MVP of that match. This, that, whatever. She's completely over. But as you break it down and really think about it, like, I don't feel like she needs to be the first to do that. Because either way, she's still gonna get what she deserves because she has a title finally. But she's gonna make it a big deal no matter what. So then that's why I went with the Naomi, because she's a big enough star, but she's not an elite level. I'm no disrespect, she's not an elite level star like on Charlotte Flair, your Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley status as of right now.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? So that's still a good champion, somebody that can have a good match with pretty much anybody. It's a veteran presence. Crossover appeal is there. Why not? I think she's probably the perfect pick as of right now. Because the other ladies, like I said, they can always get their chance. It's a whole line of people who deserves a title run, and they will get their title run. But to be the first one, you have to make a statement.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's do a roll call. Brian H., are you still sticking with Michin, or do you have a different perspective based off the fact that you brought up? You brought it up.
Right.
What are you saying now? Because we was all fun and fancy free, but then you put barriers up, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now we got parameters that we gotta kind of live by, and it's like, all right, we got this electric fence up now, so now we gotta be a little bit more intelligent how we book this. Are you still saying the same thing? Do you still think that Michin is the right one to start it off, or do you feel like maybe she's the first one to kind of chase? Where do you stand now?
See, my initial. No, I'm sticking by my guns, man. Michin roll up Chelsea 1, 2, 3 holds the tights, and then Piper Niven and Chelsea beat her down during the celebration, and that's your feud going into for the next couple months.
And you think that's hot enough to start off this lineage for the United States Championship? You think that's going to make people gravitate towards this championship by having Chelsea chasing Michin?
It's like, no, it's about the way around.
Okay, fair enough.
No,
it's almost like you got to spell it. It's like you do the math and you got to show
spell it out. I'm being honest. You know, I'm taking my bias hat off. You know, I love when in wrestling, because we've been watching this so long that a lot of times we don't have rooted interests. And I think a lot of times as wrestling fans, as content creators, we get away from that where we have this strict bias, right? And we get this chill moment when somebody wins, right? So for me, it was when Bianca was chasing Becky Lynch. You know, it was personal to me. I saw my little girl disappointed, so I needed her to get that title back. You feel me? And then with Roman, like him being my favorite wrestler at the moment right now, and he's going to become number one when it's all said and done. Like I'm invested. You know what I mean? The same way I was with Daniel Bryan. A lot of times there was a period from 2015 to about 2020 where I was just going, all right, whatever's the best story. right now. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm just rooting for the best story. I'm
Right.
liking that. Like with Mia Yim, I'm rooting because that's a friend and somebody I want to win. So it's like it's a vested rooted interest. That's the reason why I wouldn't book this match.
Sure.
Not that I ever would book a match, but if
What's the best
looking,
story? Like you
huh?
said, what's the best story?
Yeah, like I always went with the best story, but like no, now this is like no, this is my person. I want this person to win, and I'm going to root for this person regardless of what, because I want them to hold the title. You know what I mean? It's like it's like rooting at sports at a shoot. I don't care about Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift being at the Super Bowl. I wanted Lamar Jackson at the Super Bowl last year. I didn't care about how much billions of dollars was going to bring into the NFL. You know what I mean? But taking off my bias hat, yeah, Chelsea Green, because of the fact that she's going to irritate the blue hell
That's the
out
first
of
thing I
Adam
thought about.
Pearce and Nick Aldis, and then she's even going to go down to NXT and bother Ava, and having that chase, because we do know the money is in the chase, and then and then what I see is Mia Yim gets that big moment, boom, boom, boom. Here insert Charlotte Flair. Oh gosh, here comes Charlotte. Now you make her by having her in a feud with Charlotte, but not with Charlotte having the title, but by her beating Charlotte.
Okay. What about you, Brother Brandon? Where do you stand? Do you where? How do you see it now? Is it the same? Are you still sticking with who you feel should be the first, or do you have a different perspective? Talk to the people.
I'm still sticking with my perspective because if a Naomi gets it, Naomi and Bailey could have a feud. Naomi and Tiffany could have a feud. Chelsea and anybody could have a feud. I feel like the dance partners will be there, and we still got rosters among rosters, like even to the point that we still want to see other women come up to be inserted. We got other women that's going to come back that can be inserted. So, do you want somebody that can put on? They're going to open the show, because the way that the shows are booked now, they're starting to feel like Monday and Friday night pay-per-views. They're starting to feel more like
old school TNA.
A premium show, more not like an episodic TV show. And even so, could this be a change out to see? Because NXT did it. They had the North American title, both of them, on one of their PLEs. So why couldn't we get this and swap it out and have the women's world title on Friday night and this on the pay-per-view? It's interchangeable, but it'll be interchangeable to who the feud is and who's the one that we want to see more. Who's the one that we're going to pay for? Because we're going to get all of the story one way or the other. It's just when are we going to see it? So I'm sticking to my gun. But I'm more leaning towards Naomi first, because Chelsea chasing it is going to be epic. I can see her, even if she is champion, her getting the A face saying, your champ is here. Where's my locker room? I don't understand why this is not rolled out for me. The music starts. I wasn't on the show tonight. I told you I was coming. Type of deal. Or let's see here, little Nikki, you better pay attention to me. Your champion is here. And then the women's champion, like, go sit down while they go into their locker room. I'm just looking at different stories, and Chelsea would have it. Naomi would be a viable dance partner for any woman on the roster. Not to say Chelsea wouldn't be a dance partner, but I'm just saying, like, that's the only reason I would say Naomi over Chelsea.
Whew, man, this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But
I don't
I'm
know
not
why you
surprised.
thought it was going to be easy.
I felt like
You
I don't know what I
put
was
people in the hot seat, and you end up being cooked. Not cooked, but little.
Bro, I
know,
changed
it's
my whole.
thick now.
I changed my whole thought process. I changed my whole thought process. I just sizzled myself out of an opinion. It's because it's like,
But here's the crazy part.
yeah,
Y'all ever notice the difference between Macho Man's music from WCW and WWF?
mm-hmm.
That's
I
when
hate
I
them
learned how to. That's how I learned. What? Wait, what?
Yes, that's right.
You hate Pump and Circumstance?
I do. We're gonna have a new segment on the show coming soon called Unpopular Opinion, where everybody has to start the show with an unpopular opinion, and nobody can argue with about it. You say your unpopular opinion, you say that is all, and then everybody's got to be stuck with it.
I was gonna say that's how I learned how to distinct the sound of a lead guitar.
Listen, we better have another music segment. You and the live band, man.
Realness down. Now I got a question for you now. Think about this, Realness. To your point, let's say Chelsea Green is the first champion. Charlotte comes back and challenges her for it. Would you be okay with that? Or scenario B, Naomi wins and Charlotte comes back and challenges her for it. Would you be okay with that?
Neither one.
Why?
It's because Charlotte's not coming back to lose. So it's like no matter what, whoever holds that championship first, whatever they do with it, if they got to go head to head with a superstar, everything they did before that is buried. It's no point of it because it's like, bro, now it's like, okay, that means if you come back or you lose to Charlotte, it's like, okay, cool. It's just, whatever you didn't make a difference because she came back and squashed. She's been gone for 2 years. She came back from injury, injured herself again, came back, and she beat you. Now the lineage starts with Charlotte Flair, and that's all we're going to talk about, right? How many people?
So that's my point. Leave it, let her be until they need a resurgence.
You're probably right. When you put it that way, you're probably right because you like I said, you and Brian H, have completely like revamped my thinking towards it. I'm like, dang it. But why are we throwing Chelsea Green in the conversation? She's not even on SmackDown.
She is on SmackDown.
She's on Raw, and she had
a dumpster match with Meechin.
Yeah,
she had that dumpster match. Remember on SmackDown with Meechin?
I get confused every week. Trust me, but yeah.
You know what? I'm tripping. You know what it was? That's when Adam Pearce was running both shows. Okay,
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure because I was like, wait a minute, is she even on SmackDown? But I'm like,
I was we just had this whole argument. Is she on Raw? I was just like,
because I was like, wait a minute. But no, that was back when Adam Pearce was running both shows. But you're absolutely right. Man, this is we'll see. This is going to be fun because now we get to see how this is going to play out. We're going to see the direction they decide to go in, and I'm sure Triple H is playing this all. He's probably got something up his sleeve, and we're all going to be embarrassed. But that was a good conversation. But like I said, we're going to go and take a quick break, and we come back. We're going to get into our favorite soap opera as the Bloodline turns because we have to discuss who is the fifth man. Now, this is going to be a relatively quick conversation, and let me tell you why. It's because there's no point of us having these long, drawn-out conversations with the Bloodline, especially when we're only in bottom of the third. Like, we're nowhere near the end of this.
I'm sorry, what are we in? What are we
bottom
in?
Of the third. Bottom of the third. We're in the bottom of the third. We're in the bottom of the third.
Hey, Paul Heyman, what inning are we in because of the Bloodline storyline?
Well, bottom of the third. So, it's, because we're in, bottom of the third, there's no point of us spending 30 hours trying to rack our brains but we're going to just talk about this particular chapter in, like I said, our favorite soap opera as the Bloodline turns, which is entitled, Who is the Fifth Man? We're getting ready for Survivor Series, War Games. OG Bloodline is running the back. New Bloodline. This Civil War is getting off the charts. But like I said, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to have this discussion and figure out who is the fifth man.
Watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Wrealm. For all Wrestling Wrealm apparel and merchandise, head over to thewrestlingwrealm.com.
What he said. All right, good brothers. We're into the main event of our show. And we are here once again for another episode of our favorite, I say it over and over again, our favorite soap opera as the Bloodline turns. So let's get into this week's episode of the Bloodline Turn entitled, Who is the Fifth Man? right, good brothers. We have Survivor Series on its way. We have War Games. OG Bloodline seems to be intact. New Bloodline, very strong. Brian H, what side are you on, by the way? I just want to quickly ask you. Just
Come on now, the one that's got the greatest of all time.
Okay.
The
So,
OG Bloodline.
Solo.
OTC.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I look like Muscle Man Malcolm to you.
Oh boy.
What'd you say here? I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
He said he's on Solo side. That's what he said.
Okay.
Can I ask you
I
a
heard
question,
that
Brian
too.
H? If
Yeah.
Roman concedes and says, I acknowledge you, Solo is my tribal chief, will you fall in line with the rest of the family? It's tradition.
It's not going to happen.
Okay. So is that a yes or a no?
It's not going to happen.
Okay. All right, I was just asking. I don't know. I just figured I'd ask.
Shout out to
Not
Solo,
time
by the
yet.
way, for his character development.
He's
Yeah,
He's
y'all
showing
hating on Solo.
he's
Hating
showing
on
his
my
goofy
man.
side, man.
I mean, but
He-
you know,
He's being genuine. He's being himself. I love
showing
it.
some range.
Yep.
So, like I said, here we are. We were just talking about this earlier, Brother Hugh, and it's like the Bloodline storyline is back at the top of the wrestling food chain and all of professional wrestling, every company. And it's like, how powerful can a storyline be that somebody's willing to give up a singles championship run just to be a part of it? Like Sami Zayn's back in it, Jey Uso's back in it. They're back to the old stuff, and they're just as important and relevant. It's weird because they're faces now. It's like they're on the other side of the spectrum, and it's crazy. But we have this civil war going on, but we have a lot of mystery to it. We don't have a lot of answers that we're trying to figure out. But today we're going to try to figure out at least one of these questions, the answers to one of these questions, and that is, who is the fifth man? So we have OG Bloodline, New Bloodline. They have 4 members apiece. They're looking to add a 5th member for War Games. How did you guys enjoy the segments of Jimmy, Jay, Solo trying to recruit people to be a part of the 5th member of their teams for War Games? How did you guys enjoy that whole segment on Raw? They asked Braun Breaker, they asked Seth Rollins, they asked they went to quite a few different individuals to try to see if they can grab one last advantage going into War Games.
It was interesting because I didn't even think of any of those guys to be involved in that Bloodline storyline again. Seth Rollins, I didn't think about him being involved because I'm just thinking about him and Bronson. And who was the other guy? I forgot. Oh, Braun. That was a call back to him and Paul Heyman.
Oh,
from way back. So I didn't even think about him.
I didn't catch that. Good catch, Brother Hugh.
He's an IC champion. So of course I eliminated him right away. But who knows nowadays?
Are you guys convinced that Triple H is working us right now?
Absolutely.
Do you guys feel that way?
Absolutely.
He's planting some seeds. He's planting a lot of seeds because, like, for instance, when he said the next time in the ring with Roman, I'm going to be stomping his head into the ground.
Yeah.
That right there, we didn't know what Seth Rollins' status was with Roman after Mania, but he just said that. He's planted a seed for if they got to come back to this. We got something that you're going to think about. And then he said, I definitely wouldn't see with a wannabe Roman yet again. So now, when he fight Bronson Reed on Monday, Solo and his cronies are going to attack him and give Bronson Reed that win. And then he's going to have a hard thing to think about. Do I get back at Solo, or do I black hoodie it up and cause Solo the match like he caused me? But that's all I'm going to say.
A lot of black hoodies in WWE.
Yeah, they got stock in those.
What about you? What about you, Brian H?
It's great.
How did you feel about the Bloodline trying to recruit members? I mean, out of all people, like recruiting members, this is what it's come down to. And nobody wants to deal with either one of these factions, by the way. One has a lot of history that nobody trusts, and the other one is just unhinged. How do you enjoy the Bloodlines trying to recruit another member for their War
I don't
Games?
like it.
Okay, tell us why you
don't like the. I guess I know War Games traditionally 5 people, but why do they need to recruit anybody? Why do we? I guess it's a time constraint thing to take off the kayfabe hat, put on the production hat. So you got to keep these feuds intermixed. Maybe, like y'all said, there'll be some stuff down the line, but it's like Roman clearly said this is family business. He clearly said that.
you're tapping on something, Brian H. I don't know if you know what you're tapping.
What?
You just said something that was very vital. I don't, but you casually said it like you didn't realize what you said. And I don't know if it's working right now. Or you just like,
which part? The time constraint or down
No,
the
about family business. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. They
You-
approached everybody that wasn't family. That's what I wanted to say that because The Rock did this crappy decoded thing and all of that stuff he did.
too legit to
And-
quit, like MC Hammer. Too legit.
Yeah. And
That's a-
plus you got the other brother, Nicoleo,
We're going to get into that.
and then Lance. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason this is all right, so I'm gonna give you a tidbit. They did all that to plant the seeds, and then they did all that to have you think, wait a minute, could this be possibility? Could this be something? Does Braun Breaker need to give Solo back, or what's his name? Jacob Fatu, because we planted that already. Now we're gonna plant another one.
See,
So I
forgot
think
about
that was just, yeah. You see what I mean? Each person they went to, they trying to make sure you still understand all these seeds that's been planted. And I don't
Some
trust
BS.
Triple H.
Triple H
Yeah,
is
I don't
doing this
trust
for
Triple
purpose. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish what you were saying, Brian H. It was
No, that's the reason why I don't, it's family business. Keep it,
Okay.
we can do 4 and 4. It's enough. It's enough for the poster, extend the match. Like, what do we need these other people in there for?
well, that's what I was confused about. I was like, wait a minute, why don't they just do 4 and 4? It's like I feel like they don't want to repeat it for whatever reason. I'm like, what are we doing? Why does it got to be 5 on 5? Like you said, traditionally, I get it, but traditionally, it's supposed to be a roof at the top of the cage. Everybody's taking liberties around here, changing things around. So it's like, why are they so hell bent on being 5 on 5? And I'm curious about that. When you like you tapped on it, you said, why are you? I don't like it. Like, why are you asking other people to be involved? This is family business. And I'm like, well, then, brother Hugh, why the heck did they show us that in the first place? What do you? They trying to get us. They screw with our brains.
It's to keep us on our toes. Like you
But go
said,
ahead.
you have Seth, you have Braun. They have their own thing. Oh, Bronson, they have their own thing. Then you have Braun. He's about to have his own thing. I'm pretty sure with like Sheamus or somebody. Who knows?
Sheamus definitely
But-
pressed.
Exactly. So it's like they're gonna throw a curve. They're gonna find some way. He already knows what he's gonna do. By the way,
Mhm.
Triple H. He already said that. With every storyline, he already knows what he's gonna do. But he's finding different ways to keep the crowd interested in the storyline, right?
Mhm.
So what he's gonna do? He's gonna throw those curveballs and those Easter eggs at you, and just to keep you on your toes for something completely different. That's about to happen. Who knows?
That's what
I don't know. Yeah, it's like you don't know Hogan might come out. Who knows? You know.
Notice he said Easter eggs. He's been paying attention to comics. I'm proud of him.
Okay.
You're crazy.
All right, brother Hugh.
You're crazy.
Turn a new leaf. Keep turning that comic book page too.
Yeah.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's do the intelligent thing. All right, we're gonna do some process of elimination. To me, there's only 3 legitimate, realistically, names that we could discuss, and I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's even something we can even try to put together, because, like you said, this could just all be one complete swerve, and we're wasting our time right now. But we're going to try, god dang it, because we are the Wrestling Realm, and we are pretty smart when it comes to this, although Triple H has been playing with us, but we're going to still put our best foot forward. So there's 3 people that I think realistically could potentially be involved. Brian H. said, this is family business. There's 3 relatives that are still around when it comes to the WWE, but there's a reason why one, I think, is almost process of elimination out of the conversation. So let's start with the latest signee. A good brother, Lance Anoa'i, just signed with WWE. I noticed something, and you brothers tell me if you noticed this too. When they signed him, it was obvious. He didn't get like a personal signing. He got signed in a class, and they put up the class photo, and they said this is the next NXT class, and someone pointed him out. He didn't get special treatment. It wasn't like he wasn't ID'd in the WWE ID system. No, he's been, like I said, he's been working for a while. He's been doing this for a minute. They put him in space, and they said, okay. Everybody goes, oh, look, Lance Anoa'i got signed by WWE. He's part of the next NXT class. Okay. Similar to Solo. Remember when Solo first got there, he wasn't supposed to be a part of this conversation either, because he was new. Remember they said, oh, he's not. He's like, I'm not here to be a part of my brothers. I'm not a Uso. I'm Lone street fighter, whatever he called himself, prize fighter. I don't know. But guess what? He showed up at freaking Clash at the Castle in a black hoodie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. So you look at Lance. I say, well, one, Lance is a nice guy, and he's too new. I don't think people are too familiar with Lance's career outside of WWE enough, like a Jacob Fatu, to the point where he could make an immediate impact. So I'm not really sold on him as being either one of those guys, the fifth members. Do you guys feel any different about Lance on a why before I move on? Like, how do you guys feel about Lance? Do you guys feel the same, or do you figure, no, maybe I missed something, like realness, you ain't catch this, you ain't catch that? But how do you guys look at the perspective of Lance on a why probably most likely not being the fifth member on either side of the Bloodline Civil War?
I'm with you on it. And to be honest, as far as the remaining Bloodline members, like the real Bloodline members, if you think about it, I believe every single family member has been introduced with either a black hoodie or, you know what I'm saying, like, or being involved in a match, right? Like
under the ring,
right, under the ring or something like that, right?
Kinda.
And for them to have him like just come in and be the fifth person in a War Games match, not a regular match, not a regular tag match, in a War Games match, like you said, I don't think that star power is that big yet. He's not that well known yet to the people outside of the WWE universe. I mean, to the people in the WWE universe, right? So, same thing with him, Hikuleo, and whoever else, even Tazilla. That's what I think about
Brian
that.
H.
That's Brian.
What about
H's
you,
man.
brother Brandon? Do you you feel any different about Lance on the why, or are you kind of same wavelength as me and brother Hugh? Like, I don't think. I think he's got too fresh of a start. He's almost a blank canvas. You know, we don't know what he's going to be. He may not even be a part of this whole situation.
But see, that's why I think that he fits with this, because he has a blank canvas. You literally could introduce him as Paul Heyman saying, I went and got help from my tribal chief. Here's your fifth member. And why wouldn't he? He don't have to say nothing. Just let him go out there, take a couple spots. Paul Heyman do the talking. That's how you introduce Paul Heyman back. He brought help for his tribal chief. He brought help for his family. He went and found he's a third generation superstar, right? Or is he a second generation?
Third.
Could be third, yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what the story, I think, is, because it's a blank canvas. And that's how he can be introduced to that side. Paul Heyman went and got him. Paul Heyman sorted him out. So now, because of Paul Heyman, that's his story. Paul Heyman got him.
So
And that's my pick for the fifth member, is that you got to get Paul Heyman back in the story. Because
on what side? Right, Roman, the OG bloodline, correct?
Romans, because think about, they're in more disarray because Jimmy's doing this, and Jay's trying to do this, Sammy wants to do that. Roman's sitting here like, I didn't need Sammy, but then Sammy saved him. Okay, I got Sammy. Paul Heyman needs to get everything back together and organize it, because remember what Roman said. I don't do strategies. I don't do this. They took my wise man. You know, he acknowledged the fact. And that's what I think, that's what's the other part that's missing. Because with Paul Heyman, he can get that layback, but he needs a better strategy. Roman was going out there just beating, you know what, and then the numbers game got a hold of him. You know what I mean? Under Paul Heyman's wise man tutelage, you would never see Roman do that.
True. I
So,
think
that's the story.
The Paul Heyman piece is probably really huge, because I didn't. Once again, this is why we had this goddamn show.
I forgot.
I didn't realize that as well. Like, that's part of Roman's character development, right? Like, he's unhinged. We never saw him be caught off guard. We saw him do a lot of cheating. We saw him doing a lot of weaseling in and out, and we took for granted that, like, because Paul Heyman was the strategist, that's why he wasn't running into these situations. He's not good at coming up with these ideas. He just wants to go and beat people up. But then, you know, you bring a knife to a gunfight. Like I said, the numbers game gets the best of you. And it's like, bro, you're not strategizing about this the right way, Roman. You just want to go out there and beat up on your cousins. But it's like, you're not going about this correctly. But that's because the absence of the wise man, and it shows his importance. That's like, all right, brother guy.
And think about this. And this what made me think about it, because I was going back and watching some of the pandemic wrestling. Remember when Roman wrestled without Paul Heyman? started the match, different style. The day that he was with Paul Heyman, that match was underway. He came out there, signed it, picked his spot, and strategically took that title.
Pulled a
Since
Hogan.
he's without Heyman, he just been coming out there fighting. He sided with his mortal enemy. Let's just call it what it is. He thought that was his only friend to try to take down Solo, where he got him nowhere. So
Mhm.
now he needs that voice of reasoning. He needs that person he keeps looking at. He needs that man back.
Okay.
And what better way to get him back is to bring another soldier to, or what do you say? You're going to be a tribalist chief to somebody to add to the tribe. And let's call it what it is. He's young enough that whatever, I mean, not young enough. He's at the point now, whatever persona or gimmick you give him can be fed through Paul Heyman.
Okay. Fair enough. Ryan H., do you feel the same way? You think Lance is too soon? Or as Brother Guy, he says, but because he is a blank canvas, he is a fresh face. That's all the more reason, because now you can build him, because they kind of did it with Solo. Solo didn't really have an established. We didn't know who the heck Solo was. We just knew he was one of the Usos brothers, and he was kind of Samoa Joe-ish and Taz a little bit, and Street Fighter. We couldn't figure out who he was until he became the enforcer. We know exactly who he was then. Oh, that's the crazy little cousin. That's nuts. That's the goon. Like he's there to wreck stuff, and that's exactly what the heck he did. We knew who they gave him there was no development that NXT could have gave him that him being with the Bloodline wouldn't have done 1,000 times better. And I mean, and here we are. This guy's main eventing. He's the focal point, and he's been in WWE just for a solid few years. So, how do you feel in this situation about Lance kind of falling into this situation and being, the fifth member, at least on Roman's side?
I don't hate it, but I don't know. I just think like what Brother Hugh said. I think they, more hoodies and stuff. For all we know, they could be coming, with The Rock. Rock said, he's sick of all this mess. He's, we don't know. And Solo said it's a part of the plan. So I mean, I would actually like Brother Brandon's idea, just because it would be different than the way we've been seeing them, and it is a blank canvas. But I'm like, kind of looking at the aesthetics. Like Solo is a big dude,
Sure.
compared to Lance, so it made sense. And he was on NXT, so it was a little bit of more familiarity there, but in a sense where Roman wasn't supposed to have any help because the Usos was banned from Cardiff. Boom, here comes Solo. So I don't think there's a situation that's similar here. So I don't know. I just think they come in, the rest of the members are coming in a different way. Maybe the same way, maybe even if it's a sneak attack, even if it's OG Bloodline wins and then they sneak attack and help the old school Bloodline, leave the shows on top.
Okay. So
now, can I ask you a question about this? And I couldn't remember. Isn't the Anoa'i Roman's family and the Fatu's basically the Rock side?
No. So it's like,
or is it
the Rock?
backwards?
It's the Rock and Roman are on the same side. Is because the Wild Samoans are the nephews of the Rock's grandfather, High Chief.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So Roman's the son of Sika. So like they're all second and third cousins. So they're directly
okay. So they're on the same side. The Rock and Roman are on the same side.
Rikishi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Rikishi married into the Anawais because he married an Anawai. Rikishi did.
Okay, I had it backwards. Okay, I thought they were. Okay, never mind.
And then on Rikishi's side, you got Tonga Kid, you got Umaga,
right?
You know what I mean? And those are his brothers on that side. So, but he married into the Anawai. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He married Yokozuna's sister.
I thought Rikishi's father is Fatu, but I thought his mother was the sister to Alpha and Sika.
I'm tripping. That's what it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Other way around.
It was still blood.
Yes, that's what it was. It was his mother. is Ana White. Yes. And
So
his
that makes
father was
him and Rikishi and Roman and Samu are all first cousins.
cousins. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Roman was the baby of that.
Right.
Yeah, because Matt
Yeah.
Matt is technically on the same age length of not Alpha Junior, Samu, but like Roman and Alpha Junior are close to the same age. You know,
Yeah.
you got the older
Because
cousins.
I think because Roman's older brother
Rikishi-
is like 8 years or something
Yeah.
older than Roman. He's way
Because
older.
say Rikishi's kids are going to have kind of the same thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? With Solo and Jimmy and
They're
Solo
all 8
being
years apart.
8 years younger
Yeah.
than Jimmy and Jay.
Jimmy and
And then
Jay
I
are
think
around
he
the
got
same age as Roman, but they're also technically second cousins.
Yeah.
Right. Then one generation between them, but because they're, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Roman was the baby of Rikishi generation, Junior, as Junior Fatu.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
Right.
but then so that's how that yeah, good catch, Brian H. So
I mean,
all right.
we spent on the episode probably 5 or 6 of the Wrestling Wrealm. We
Mhm.
spent like an hour on that
yeah,
family
the-
tree.
the Yokozuna, that was around the time of the Yokozuna tribute show.
Mhm. Yep.
Big
We was like,
Konakina.
we ain't touching this because it's too intense. Before The Rock showed that PowerPoint, well,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one point, but yeah,
Right.
we was like, no, we ain't touching this. But yeah, we had already did the studying back
Yeah,
then. That's why
we
I had
wanted
to
to be
like. Mhm.
we want to be very respectful about it. But like I said,
Yeah,
before The
'cause it
Rock
was
put it
good
there,
to us.
yeah, they
It still is, shout out to Lance, I've seen him a couple years ago. He's same dude, he don't change up like, a lot of these wrestlers.
they put us over. That WXCW C4 show, they WXW C4 show, they really embraced us. And I was like, okay, I understand what they mean by this whole family dynamic. And that's why we were always very respectful to it, is because, it was like nephew. I was like, dang. Like, nah, y'all, you know what I mean? And Rikishi and Samu treated us, like family. And like I said, that's when I first met Lance, and we had, Alpha Junior was there, and we were there with them before and after the show. So it was like, there's a reason why, like, Brian H is, when I say he's part of the bloodline, I really mean it though. Like, he was pulled into the family. He was front row seats and everything. It's crazy. So,
I mean, but me and Brother Hugh wasn't begging Uncle Keisha's phone in
instead,
Miami.
you guys went to South Beach.
Yep.
And you guys wore big boy drawers, not tidy whities. So we moving on to yep. So we have another wrinkle, right? We let's talk about the great one. Is there a chance the great one could come back and be the 5th member?
Who was that? Who was that? That's not the great one.
That's the final boss.
That's the final boss.
You gotta say it. Say it, Eve.
No. You just got to get right. You
You
can't.
say it?
He's not the great one right now, man. He's the final boss.
That's definitely the final boss. I stand correct. You have to be right, brother.
Your goddaughter the other
Mhm.
day. We in Target.
Yeah.
Went to the Poppy Tooie section. They ran out of the shampoo. I mean the shower stuff. I was mad.
Mhm.
I said, "Who's that?" Maui. I said, "If you don't stop and answer, who is that?" Maui.
What's the part? You're welcome.
I'm like, I was sitting in the store. I literally like stood there for like 2 minutes. No, who is that? If you don't stop playing with me, we're not going to eat. Who is that? Maui.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
First of all,
Man,
don't threaten
she's
that baby
stubborn.
no more with
Right.
no food like that.
Right.
Come on,
Like,
you
look,
know
she-
they're
she
gonna
was
afford to for that meal. They need dad to cook. Don't do that. That's high stakes poker right there.
She was going to get fast food as opposed to we ended up sitting down at Red Robin.
Okay.
Father
right, that's
daughter
fair.
just 1-on-1. But she was playing me, and then after she said, I know that was The Rock.
He was the final
Sure.
boss. That's right.
Final boss.
Mhm.
And it's
Hard
gonna get
times.
worse. It's gonna get worse when they do a live action version. Of course, they got Moana 2 coming out. So sorry, buddy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But with the final boss, is there a chance of him showing up at Survivor
No.
Series in any way, shape,
Triggered.
or form?
You triggered me.
Sorry.
You forgot my first Survivor Series that got during egg in Brooklyn,
Yeah, that was bad.
and the whole crowd, the whole night.
The guy with the
Where is
gooker.
he? Where is he? And even Selena Vega, they said Selena Vega I met this girl who's cool with her. She was like, yeah, she was texting. Thea was texting me like, hey, DJ, are you here? No, I'm not coming. I'm on set somewhere. No,
See?
everybody thinks you're coming. Like, no, like they got this whole tribute. He's like, I'm not coming.
DJ.
Yeah.
See how personally she knows him. that was
Mhm.
that was. She did was it Wrestling with My Family? She played.
Yeah, yep. That was a good movie,
She
by the way.
played. Yeah,
was.
what did she play?
Except
She
except
played
the wrestling stuff.
AJ Lee, didn't she?
Yeah, she definitely played AJ. That's where the budget got thin, the wrestling part. But
Mhm.
everything else was great. It was actually a good movie. But is it a good chance DJ shows up? And I don't mean to trigger you, Brian, because I know you guys thought he was going to show up and he didn't. But is there a chance that the final boss reveals himself as finally saying, "Hey, I acknowledge this new bloodline because you guys couldn't cut it"?
Oh.
Only if Cody Rhodes is there.
I think he only shows up at the answer to Paul Heyman. I think he's going to be the Paul Heyman of this new bloodline.
I mean, he's giving that vibe, and once again, they could be swerving us, but I'm almost convinced that he is the one pulling the strings behind this, is because The Rock has been at the forefront of all of this. Even if you talk about the lineage of WrestleMania, when he first came back, he has been at the forefront. Like, he has been the beginning when he showed the family tree. He has his own title because he's the grandson of the High Chief. So I don't remember his title, and I don't want to be disrespectful and mispronounce it the wrong way, but he has a certain level. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, it's almost like like the CEO emeritus, where it's like, look, I'm like an honorary CEO, even though I'm retired. So I get somebody else actually runs the show, but I still sit on the board, which he technically does.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, look, I came back to make sure that my family was put in place, and I put you in charge, Joe. I chose you to make sure this happened, and you messed it up. And like I said, now that Alpha and Sika, the patriarchs, have passed away and moved on to go on and be with the Lord, Roman said it. I told my father I could fix this. That's killing him, because he's not like, they're not going to be here to see if it gets fixed or not. That I know that is burning him up. But The Rock's like, I put you in charge to take over. Is because I believe you're supposed to make this happen. We were supposed to figure out who was going to be at the top. Me and you, blood feud. This is what we do in family. Whoever went, may the best man win. Keep it in the family. But one way or another, either one of us was going to be running this show. Roman failed, and it sounds like Rock's like, I gotta go send somebody else. We still don't know where the heck Solo came from in the first place. We don't know who the elders are. We don't remember who the heck was giving Solo these orders when Paul Heyman kept saying, but who is giving these orders? Who's telling you these things? Who's giving you, where is this coming from? It's not coming from Roman. He's not answering my phone calls. He's like, look, Roman's not going to be here. I'm not convinced that Solo is acting on his own. And Solo said himself, I'm not here to divide the family, man. Don't say that. Because that's almost like a cuss word. When Jey Uso approached him, he said, yo, you divided his family. He said, whoa. You see how fast and quick he could have been like, I don't care, bro. He literally said, no, you've got the game twisted. I'm trying to unite the family. Roman failed. He said, I was up next. He has to acknowledge me. I'm running the show now. And I'm like, the reason nobody's fighting him is because that was his right. That was passed on to him. He's not doing anything wrong. We just don't like what he's doing. Roman said, you're up next. Roman lost. Roman went away. He took his mantle. He took his place. He had orders in place of what to do. And Jimmy said it, bro. Let's get to the point. You'll always be my tribal chief, but I'm the only one in the family that still acknowledges you in the first place. Come on now, brothers. What are we talking right now? I mean, what are we talking? Is DJ, is the final boss, is The Rock, whatever you want to call him, is he the fifth man for the new bloodline? Yeah, look, everybody's spent. I love the look on your face.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got real.
Go ahead here.
Yeah,
go ahead
somebody.
Say it.
It used to be a time.
Go ahead.
No, it used to be a time you could say, well, Survivor Series isn't big enough, but you can't say it no more because of one reason. He's on the board, man.
Bingo.
He has a vested interest, man. He's
not just stopping pass anymore, man.
Exactly. He could show up. I mean, his first time, one time he showed up in Colorado. You know, he was hitting the towns. You know, small cities, big cities, Alabama. Shout out to Stephanie Hardy.
So that's right. I do what I want. Why? Because I'm the final boss. Final boss.
Rock's going to tell you his intention. I'm going to tell you.
That's right.
When I'm
And
ready.
then walk out. And then you don't hear from him anymore.
Right.
Yes.
Cuts promos on the
years.
faces on the side of the truck and then leave.
Right. Smacking his arm.
Because he feel the mana. And yeah, I hope he is. I think I'm be mad.
I can tell by looking in your face. Look at that.
I know.
Look
Okay, he got the real ugly face.
See-
on.
you see that?
that?
He
Mhm.
got real deep. I hope he is.
Forget WWE for putting Survivor Series in Canada, because probably ain't trying to fly all the way across.
I mean, that's
You know.
Vancouver. It's not like it's Toronto. It's cold.
Bingo.
You know it's gonna be cold. Like
Yeah, you know I wouldn't be going to Toronto around this time of year.
I mean, they moved the Grizzlies to Memphis for a reason.
You see, matter of fact, it might still be on. They had those jerseys. But
Yeah, they were definitely one of the throwbacks. Vancouver Grizzlies. That's where the name came from because there's
Big
Grizzly
country.
Bears in Vancouver.
See, that's why I hate when teams don't change names.
Huh?
But yeah,
I mean, the Expos did to the Nationals. Sorry.
exactly. See, that's how you're supposed to do. Ain't nothing Expo in DC.
True.
I don't want to see. I would love to see The Rock come back, man. I mean, you know, obviously we'll never get like full-time Rock. As
Sure.
the Lakers about to win this, but man, that would be.
We're getting ready
epic.
for the Rumble. That's all it
Yeah.
is. It's supposed to be.
Indianapolis, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think
Brother
he shows. I don't think
Go
he
ahead, brother.
wrestles. I don't think he
Mhm.
wrestles. He
I
doesn't
don't think
wrestle
he
in a
wrestles
match.
either, though. But
But
I think it has a lot to do with Brother Brandon, what he said. But go ahead, brother. You speak on it, please.
Yeah, but I feel like he might show up and not say anything like he did before, right? And
Mhm.
cut another promo, have everybody thinking like, "Oh my God, what's going on now?" Like I don't know. He said nothing.
Yeah.
He was talking for 15 minutes and said nothing again. I don't know what's going on, but he showed up, so that's big enough for us.
True.
You know, I don't think he shows up until like really wrestles possibly until like Royal Rumble. Like you
I think
like
Mania.
Mania. Okay.
I think like he'll make appearances in between, like at the big spots. But I
Mhm.
think like before it gets down and dirty, I think it's going to be the biggest show.
Right. Okay.
But that's just that's just me.
Yeah,
But-
I don't think he wrestles though. But yeah, I don't know who exactly is going to be the fifth members of either team, but you have a lot of people out there that you can throw in there, and I'm just saying Cody Raheem won't have nothing to do right now. I mean, I know he's in a hospital or a medical facility with Randy Orton right now because he has a broken neck from a regular power driver, not
Well,
one of.
Don't discredit Kevin Owens' power driver. Don't do that. We saw what Kevin Owens used to
It
do.
was the
Sami Zayn
safest
on at
power
that
driver
ladder.
ever. The safest power drive ever.
No, it was
Good
not.
job, Kevin. That was the
He gave
safest
him
one.
a
was.
bruised cervical spine bruise or whatever you call it. But
Okay. I'm gonna rock with it. But hey,
thank you. Disrespecting my man Kevin Owens. That was brutal. Dang it, he's a killer.
oh man,
The
Brother
safest
Brandon,
power
you
drive.
alluded to something, and you said you think that whoever the fifth member for the original Bloodline, they're going to be either the answer to The Rock or the answer to Paul Heyman or vice versa. How do you feel about The Rock coming back and being the fifth member to the new Bloodline and kind of everything we kind of discussed? It's because I think I have a scenario in my head, and when you're done, I'm going to put it out there, and you guys can dissect it, and you guys can help me come to a better conclusion because that's what y'all been doing all night. Y'all just been destroying my own personal thought.
So my scenario is Paul Heyman comes back, introduce the fifth member for the original Bloodline. The
Mhm.
Rock is going to introduce the fifth member of the new Bloodline, as in let's call it what it is. Solo promos ain't hitting like the Rock promos would.
No,
Solo
he's still a fresh
is
face.
missing that mic skill, so you need somebody. And the reason I'm saying, like, it was no disrespect to last when I called him, said he's a blank canvas. He's blank to the WWE scene, right?
Mhm.
So you need that person that can be that mouthpiece, as in Paul Heyman. When The Rock, if he introduces Hikuleo, it's going to be the other brother, kind of like how Solo had to go through being the other brother to the tag team. So when The Rock, and I'm gonna say this, y'all keep saying he doesn't come back to Mania. I think we see The Rock. I mean, before Rumble, I think we see him more frequently because it's all about making money. Imagine every time The Rock shows up on something, that next Raw or SmackDown sells
Sold
out
out.
instantly because people are like, "Oh shoot, if he came to this, he might be here." Oh, I gotta see what The Rock is going to do. I'm sorry, the final boss. So that's why I think that we see him because it's got to be the next chapter and what's going to happen next because the next pay-per-view after this is Royal Rumble, right?
No, it's Saturday night. If
Saturday
you want to call
night
that
main event.
PLE.
Review.
It might as well be.
Yeah, they basically treat it like it is.
Old school live spot.
Yeah.
And what else to pop a rating and have him there? I mean, will we even get a Bloodline segment? I don't know, but I'm just saying I think that we see him strategically, as in not at these major shows, but at these lesser shows to make you really pay attention and for him to cut the promo and leave. Because let's call it what it is. We had how many weeks of Judge acknowledge me. I'm your tribal chief. Look at me. And then I love you, Solo, in the background as all right, let's break up Solo's promo.
You be geeking,
Let's do
bro.
something different. Yeah.
Hey, that's a scary.
I love you, Solo. Thank God for you, Solo. I said, I ain't doing this on purpose now.
Man.
You know, so I'm just saying, I think that we need that. And The Rock, let's think about it. The Rock comes back. The other ones will be backstage segment. He comes back once every 3 or 4 SmackDowns. And they can announce one. He can show up at the other one. Announce one, show up. We just need something else to push it to Royal Rumble and Mania. Because what if he finally is gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna show y'all how it's done. You know, you lost the leg, you lost it for the family. Roman, it's me and you in tribal warfare and Mania. I don't know. I mean, everybody keeps wanting to throw Cody Raheem in this mix to drop the title to him. But do we really want the title with Roman or Rock right now?
Yeah.
I don't.
CM Punk, Drew McIntyre.
No, I don't believe in needed. I want my favorite to have the title.
Because they got enough stakes right now. I mean, think about it. This is more important than the title.
Kinda.
Yeah. So,
He said, "I don't like
two of
where
the
the family position is right now. They'd be they not getting the locker room treatment. They not getting the private jets, the stakes, because there's no title. Remember,
you wanted to buy a house. I told you about all of them. Roman, stop it. Now you're just being silly. You ain't telling that man about all the houses.
It did.
He
Buy
was-
houses.
Buy
Remember,
them
he
all.
said, "Would you want to vote?" When he chose him over his twin brother.
Mm.
You know,
So I just think that we about to go into what inning are we in, Dwayne?
Bottom of the third. Where bottom of, you gotta say it all smuggy. Bottom of the third. Bottom of
And
the
we
third.
need just imagine the promo battle between Rock and Paul Heyman.
So let me get this
close
straight.
out a show. Imagine The Rock answering Paul Heyman answering The Rock on SmackDown, different weeks. You know how many people going to tune in just to see what's great happen next?
remember the Rock? Paul Heyman had them 2 phones. One had the Rock.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
So I'm just gonna leave it there, and that's my story, and that's what I'm sticking to.
But why did he need 2 phones though? I mean, he could
2
have
phones.
just put the phone number in the one phone.
2 phones.
Anyway, my bad.
Get your Wrestling Wrealm phone case on WrestlingWrealm.com.
Girl. I don't have sound effects. So why does that sound like Optimus Prime right there? Autobot. Sorry. He knows. He gonna say, "Who's that?"
And he wanted them power. I mean,
No,
no,
don't do
cut
that.
it
Mega
out.
Transformers.
He said Megatron.
The ones that like get bigger. Don't they get they get bigger?
Cut it out. That's the tattoo teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
Tattooed teenage
Alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
and Beverly Hills. The tattooed teenagers.
Terrible.
Why did I just read Drew's?
Alien fighters.
2 phones.
That's how the song
One
was.
for the plug and one for the low. I
There you
literally read that in his broadcast voice.
I got 2 phones. I have a question. We're gonna wrap this up. We're almost done. I think we're doing a good job. I'm struggling, but I think we're doing a good job. Why the heck have we ever heard nothing about this guy?
Because
He's
he's bulking up. That's why.
He's
probably
definitely beefing up right now.
Wait, who's that?
Jacob finally lost 50 pounds, I heard.
Right.
Who's
And
that?
he did that like in a month.
That's Hikuleo.
This is
Oh.
Hikuleo. This is
But he probably had to cut his hair because you can't have him and Roman with the same amount of hair.
yes, you can. There's Samoan.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter.
So
Yeah.
here's my thing. When they signed Lance, everybody acknowledged it. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Hikuleo. You ain't heard nothing about him. They ain't say he signed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I missed it. They didn't say Hikuleo. So like usually they put their real name and say this person signed with WWE. Whatever the case, I didn't hear anything about him. Everybody knows he signed, but nothing. We've not heard anything.
They just
Lance
trademarked
signed.
those names. It was Talatonga.
Tonga
see?
Leo. No, what was it? It was a bunch
It
of
was
Yeah,
it was
Talatonga.
Talatonga. Yeah.
Yo, I hate when that stuff be coming out.
Me too.
Like leave it alone. I hate when people
Yeah,
be like, why
remember-
are you looking up trademarks? Like, why do you have
remember when
alert on your
everybody
phone?
thought Jade Cargill was gonna be Jada Parker? It's
Yes,
like
I do remember that.
trademark Jada. Oh, they gonna change Jade's name. They gonna change her music and all that. Like, yo, just leave it alone, bro.
I don't like when
Rex
they do that either.
Steiner, Braun
Like-
Breaker.
Like why are
Right.
y'all looking up trademarks and stuff like that? Like,
What was
you're
Walter's
doing
last name at first? What was his
He
last
was,
name
he
at
was
first?
Gunther Starks. I'm like, they're like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
Nazi general. They're like,
He
oh,
was like,
nope,
that's
nope, never mind. No Starks, just
Can you
Gunther.
imagine Vince saying, "Oh yeah, Gunther Stark. That sounds cool. That sounds real medicine. Vince, that's a Nazi. Change it. Why'd you let me tell you?"
Nope.
Nah, because there's probably the one person who say, "Yeah, we should go with this, knowing that it's gonna be something wrong," and then
Right.
there's the other person goes like, "No, stop it."
Mm-mm-mm. So I think he gets introduced to somebody's side. Now, on one hand, I see him being introduced to Roman's side and being like, okay, they finally got one up. They're gonna beat this new bloodline. Look at this big behemoth. Paul Heyman, because I went and got help. And instead of Lance, we went and got this big fella. I went and got another relative, another family member, right? As a matter of fact, I got just like Jimmy and Jay, your younger brother's beefing with you guys. I found another younger brother that's beefing with somebody on the other side. Now the fans go crazy. Bloodline looks stronger than ever, but then all of a sudden the Rock's music hits, and that's going to throw everybody else off. Because as good as Hikuleo is, or as big as he is, and as young and talented as he is, the Rock showing up at Survivor Series is going to just destroy the rest of the show. Nothing else is going to matter before the Rock shows up. And I think it throws another wrinkle into what in the world we're supposed to be watching when they're just going to keep taking us on this ride until it gets to WrestleMania. I think somehow it ends with Roman and Rock finally.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we're going to get there, because there's got to be some type of struggle for control. I don't know. But Hikuleo, why haven't we heard from him? Whose side is he on? Whose side is he on? Bobby Heenan. In case you guys didn't know my impression, it wasn't that good.
I mean,
OG or new?
Just stick with Macho.
I was about to say it makes sense for him to join with his brothers,
Why the
but
Solo didn't join his brothers?
well, I mean, he's a Tongan, and Solo, he's looking for savage guys, right?
Yeah.
Well,
The Tongans are
kinda.
the Tongans are savage. They're beasts, you know. They
They're
don't
dangerous
care about
people.
anything.
It's a
They don't
reason
care
we
about
didn't
anything,
write them.
right?
Hmm.
But now that I never even thought about him being on Roman's side, but now that Brandon said something about Paul Heyman, what if he brings him in and says, "Look, we never went to the Tongans before because of that, because they're savage.
Yep.
But now I'm gonna get you some help.
Time.
I went and got us a Tongan, and that's your guy, right?"
Mhm.
It can go that way, but honestly, I still see him teaming up with Solo and his brothers. It just makes sense. Storyline purposes. Everybody knows that's their brother.
So
You know, but
if they get 5 on that side, Roman and them barely got 4, because Sami Zayn's just a temporary thing. He's not going to be here forever. He's just helping
Right.
out. He's not like in the bloodline all of a sudden. He's just like, look, bro, we did this before. Let's do this again. I got your back. But I don't like this. Isn't once this is done.
Sammy.
Yeah, I think Sammy goes about his business. Like, you know what I mean? He's like,
He
all
needs
right,
to.
I help my dogs, Jimmy and Jay. I did my part. Now I'm gonna go and do my own thing. It's like I don't think he's wrapped up in this story completely. So like so you got Roman and the Usos versus Solo, Jacob, the Gorillas of Destiny, and Big Fella.
You got to stack the card against Roman, though. You really have to stack it against him.
Well, I first I was gonna say no, you can't, but I'm like he sure as heck stacked the cards with everybody else.
Right, you have to stack the card against Roman because you got to tell that story, that comeback story, right? And it's going to be epic. Like I said, when he took that pin, it's going to be epic no matter what. Now, that also gives you a little bit more time to make a decision on a Lance. Make a decision on if you want to bring a Zilla or Journey or whoever else into the mix, right? That saves you a little bit of time because you still don't even know what's going on with The Rock. You still don't know what's going on with Cody Rhodes.
True.
Brother Hugh.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And you are sometimes, but not this one.
He just couldn't let you just have it. He just couldn't let you have that moment.
It's cool.
He had it like, no, you're right. No, you are sometimes. Just not this one.
But at the same time, I think this story already written out 6 months. Like I think it's already been playing. Like I know what you're saying, give a time to figure out. Nah, they know when Lance is coming. They know when Hikuleo's coming. They creating new Bloodline members, getting them ready. They got Bloodline members in high school. They penciling in the 2028 for this story.
Has anybody been ID'd?
No, they won't be. I don't think they will be. I don't think you will ID a Bloodline member.
Zilla's probably pissed. Like, why the heck y'all not IDing me now? He wants everything now.
I know. I think 2029.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, he's got to learn the ropes.
He got to learn the ropes. He got to,
We're not going to spend too much more time on this because
I'm sorry. But what if that picture was just a play to throw us off?
Yeah.
But see, that's what I was alluding to. Like, this is what I'm saying, though. Like, they told us when they signed him. They didn't say nothing about Hikuleo. They didn't even mention it. And everybody knows he signed. Like, in the era of Triple H not trying to insult our intelligence, right? We say it all the time now. I think you might have said it last night on Championship Culture. You said, look, we're living in the era where Triple H is not going to insult our intelligence. He knows that we know things. He's not going to pretend like we don't know certain things. We all know he signed with WWE, and there's been no mention of it. He's one of the biggest he's young. He's like 23 or 24. He's young. He's like 22 when he got started or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
He big 6'8", young. Like he's really a blank canvas. He's just getting started. Like he just got to New Japan with his brother. He just started running New Japan strong with them. You know what I mean?
Many of them like broken toys or blank canvases.
So is that why they was talking about NXT? Is that why they was talking about NXT work for him?
Well, see, they didn't say nothing about him. But with Lance, they had no problem saying, "Oh, he's part of the new NXT class. He's been identified. Oh, look, there's Lance. I don't know why he's in a picture. He's got We Are NXT shirt on." I'm like, okay, cool. They've made it clear that we know he's in Hawaii because they said it. He signed to the new NXT class. They didn't say nothing about Hikuleo. You mean to tell me somebody that big and that young and you ain't mentioned him once? Come on now.
Because you know why? People like so Lance had to be pictured with NXT to get the buzz going so people can start saying it, right? Because they say, let's see what it is. Let's see if people know who this is, right? Because you said it best, Realness. When Solo was on the Indies, he was the baby Uso. He literally looked like a carbon copy of the Usos.
He did.
And then he had to come to NXT.
Great Uso.
And that's what he was like, oh, I'm the street champion. I'm like, oh, okay.
He cut his hair and all that.
He cut his hair, had the blonde tips at it, and still showing that he's Uso. Different ring gear, everything. He was totally different, right?
Big time.
But
He's
I
brand new
think
character.
the reason we haven't heard about Hikuleo because we know. Like, we knew that Triple H was after Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa when the Good Brothers came back, remember? That's when the buzz first started because it was like, oh, he's going over there to defend the never openweight title, and look who the Good Brother lost it to. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a thing like we knew he didn't insult us, but then he probably said, put this out there to see if anybody's going to notice Lance. Let's see if he can get him trending. Let's see what the social media things are. Because he keep planning stuff and letting us create our own stories to the point that it's like, all right, maybe this will work, maybe it won't. He might be waiting to see which way to pull the trick. Because think about it, it's some people in WWE right now that could pass as Bloodline members. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I thought that guy got cut.
It's another one. Just look at your NXT roster.
That guy didn't get cut.
So who are you alluding to?
I ain't gonna say it. They say that for Realm After Dark.
You making things up?
It was another. It was another Polynesian brother that was on the roster, and I remember when they was asking Usos on one of them shows. They're like, "Who's in your family?" And they was trying to break down the. He was like, "Yeah, we got a couple of what you got us. I mean, he not a part of our family, but." They like, "Dang man, he's still an island boy." You're like, "Man, he ain't part of us." I don't know what you talking about. Him and Jimmy and Jay was going at it about it a while ago, but I can't keep up with this. But once again, this is our favorite soap opera as the bloodline turns, and this is episode, I don't know what it is, but I think we did a good enough job as much as we could possibly do with trying to identify, and I don't feel like we've gotten any we haven't gotten any, what you call it.
I mean, it's gonna be Rikishi.
Oh.
Okay, well, there you go, brother. You spoiled it.
Yeah, bro. He's doing it for The Rock, so.
I did it for
That's part of Solo's playing.
I did it for you. What if they do some type of callback to that to try to tie it in? I did it for you. I did it for The Rock.
I don't put it past them, right?
But I'm looking forward to coming back next week because we're going to have another episode of As the Bloodline Turns, as we dig right into Survivor Series, War Games, so much more. Not to mention, I'm looking forward to now trying to see who's going to be the first WWE Women's United States Champion. So we appreciate you all joining us in this conversation. This was intense. Like I said, I put these guys in the hot seat, and these chumps maybe changed my entire thought process. And I'm like, this is what happened. I swear, I thought I was going to stand firm, but I'm like, they're making too much sense right now. I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, I don't care. I'm like, dang it, I got to rethink this whole thing. So I'm having fun being a wrestling fan. Join us next week for another episode of As Bloodline Turns, where we try to figure this out, and hopefully we get another ring or two. Until then, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Wrealm. Follow Championship Culture at Championship Culture _ on Instagram. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m., Championship Culture, youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm, playlist Championship Culture. See, I said it like 3 times, so it should be ingrained in people's brains. But we appreciate you joining us. We're about to get out of here. We have to get into Realm After Dark because we really got to figure this out one way or another. Join us next week. We'll be back. There's so much more to get into. You all have a safe week. Peace out. We gone.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.